Okay, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear my voice today? Please type in the chat. If you can hear me in the chat, make sure that you let me know. Okay. So we are back. And so I do apologize. I don't know what the heck happened and why the microphone was not working. But we are back. And just to let you know that we are having an open forum today, and the discussion is on Kemet, the land glyph, and the overturning of science, right? And I will post the link for you to join the conversation a little bit later. And again, I want to start all over and just give a shout out to those of you who have made yourselves known in the chat. So peace and blessings to Brother Obama and Teti Ma'at Ras Neferu, as well as the Federate States of Kemet. Zane Montego is in the building. Montego, I should say. And let's see, Pan-African Designs and Apparel. He says, I need you to show primary documentation, but I'm assuming you meant not your own opinion, my personal opinion. Of course, we do this always. Peace and blessings to Mystic Clarky and anybody else who makes themselves known throughout the chat. I will let you know. And peace and blessings all the way from Tanzania. Brother who's Sony says, "Hoi hoi from the Into lands." Peace and blessings to you. So let me just reduce the music real quick, and we can get started. So what I'm going to do first is, let me reduce that window. And so what we're going to do is first, I'm going to share a video. And I want to share this video first to let us kind of get a precedent over what the discussion is about, even though this is going to be for something different, but it's going to be related conceptually. So, our good brother Ujamaa has, made himself back known in the public space, and he's been on a couple of panels already, and of course Kemet is the hot topic. And so on Brother Garfield's channel, I believe, I joined in one of the conversations, and I had mentioned in the discourse, how science is actually done. And this was in a larger discussion regarding how much time it takes for a number of scientists to agree after they have tried to duplicate the studies and the like. And I had mentioned that when Einstein first came on the scene, that his ideas were not accepted at first, and in part because it challenges some major concepts that Newton brought forth regarding certain laws of physics, regarding the laws of motion and gravity. And so the idea is that you don't necessarily overturn a fact or a theory in science. It only brings clarity, like new information only brings clarity, and provides also limitations for previous studies. Because if something has been verified via science, scientific experiment, there's not going to be in a future experiment that that nullifies that, right? But this is in the context of when we're talking about actual experiments, not people's ideas about what possibly may be going on. And so, not long after I had made that statement, I just happened to be checking on my For You page on YouTube, and this discussion, which I'm about to share, had popped up. So you can say it's the ancestors, it's the universe, but I think this particular conversation was uh, very much indeed, needed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, right? I'm going to share, or actually, let me see, I'm going to share a video file. And so we're going to do that. Then I'm going to go to
your field of study, most people would say, would be the most mind-blowing science that.
So we're going to hold on. All right. So this is the astrophysicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he is interviewing another physicist by the name of Jana Levin. And in this conversation, they come to a critical part where they're talking about this concept of quote unquote overturning science. And I have to bring this aspect of the discussion up because of our good brother, Unc and he's always using this term wrong, or this phrase wrong in terms of overturning science. And this is one of the things that he tries to throw at us when we bring up certain issues that have never been scientifically verified in the first place, and two, in the larger discourse when it comes to actual consensus versus popular opinion, right? And so if I can find, see, it doesn't have it does have time. So let me go to 8 minutes and probably like around 8 minutes and probably like 5 seconds. Let me go about right. It won't let me. So we'll go 8 minutes and 4 seconds. Oh, come on now. What is this? Right. So I'm going to go full screen. Let me do full screen so that y'all can see it. And hopefully, y'all let me know in the chat if y'all can hear the audio as it's playing. So I'm just let it play for a few minutes, and then we're going to come back and have some commentary. All right.
All right.
Let's hope we hoist it up on the building without incident.
So, Janet, your field of study is, I bet most people would say, would be the most mind-blowing science that anyone does.
Wow.
Because it's just it's out there.
Yeah.
Right? I could talk about stars and planets, and there's a tangibility to that.
Yeah.
Right? Even the size, even the expanding universe. It's a little weird, but it doesn't blow your mind.
Yeah.
You think about stuff that's like, what?
Yeah.
Right.
One of my favorite experiences when I'm doing research is when I have a huge shift, when I'm shocked by something and I realize I've had some kind of preconceived notion that has just been shattered.
Nice.
And it's really amazing. I'm following the science. I'm not dragging it along.
Right.
And it
Many people who
literally
don't
blows
know-
your mind.
Many people who don't know the moving frontier of science think, and I think want to believe, that somehow we all sit around wanting to agree with one another.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in fact, the advances come when someone says, I have an idea. Was it Isaac Asimov said that true scientific discovery is never eureka.
Right.
It's, that's odd.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a little thing.
Totally.
And it's
Absolutely.
like, wait, that doesn't fit that.
Yeah. And I really appreciate what you're saying. I really feel that debate is not actually how scientists operate.
Oh,
They
no.
don't sit there trying to win an argument. That
Right.
would be so
It doesn't make any
unscientific.
sense to do that.
No, not at all. You
Yeah.
want to say,
I want to pause right there just to reiterate that, you hear these scientists talking about debate isn't how they win arguments in science. And too many times in this quote unquote conscious community, they think that getting on YouTube and arguing with one another is going to settle the score. That's not how science and things are done in academia. But I just wanted to emphasize that. And we will continue right now. Let's
wait,
go.
what are you talking about? And
basically, it's I call BS.
yeah,
That's really in a nutshell.
Right, and
Like,
that's
I call
how-
BS,
yeah.
and then you got to set about to prove it.
So, Janet, what I think you're saying is the way I've described it is two scientists in an argument. There's an unwritten contract between them.
Okay.
Okay. Either I'm right and you're wrong, you're right and I'm wrong, or we're both wrong.
Both
Right.
wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we can't agree at the end of that conversation, we do agree that more or better data will resolve it.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
In
then-
which case, you could both be right.
Well, so yes, so there are the rarer case where we're both right.
Right.
If in the classical example of the blind people touching an elephant, they give completely disparate accounts.
Right.
Okay, one is the trunk, one is the leg,
Right.
one is the toenails, one is the tail,
each have a
one is
piece.
the tusk, and we can argue what the actual nature of that animal is, but at the end of the day, we're all correct because
Right.
it's all part of the same animal.
And then there's a bigger vision.
The bigger vision. So
Yeah.
the bigger visions are often very hard to reach, but that can happen, and it does. It can and does happen.
I totally agree with you. One thing that drives me a little crazy is when people say, "Oh, science is always overturning what came before completely and rewriting. So why should I believe it?" And that's not true.
Yeah,
So
it's not only not true;
Yeah.
it's very false.
it's very false.
Very false.
So if we were logicians, we would
Yeah.
we would care about that distinction. So if I look back at what Newton did, it is absolutely a part of the elephant, an excellent description of a part of the elephant that he was able to palpate at at the time. Einstein comes along and it's bigger.
That's the one.
See, that's
like a
that's the
word
novelist
right
in
there.
me.
Right, okay.
So, Einstein comes along and has a bigger vision, but he absolutely requires of his work that it match Newton.
Yeah.
Right? Not that it has nothing to do with Newton. Suddenly, when I pour my coffee, it doesn't go upward. Right?
Right.
So,
So
it's
Einstein
cumulative.
enclosed Newton as a special
right, a
case
bigger view.
within a larger understanding of the world.
Yeah.
Right. It was not overthrown. It
Exactly.
was
Extended.
extended. Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. We don't always anything that was experimentally determined to be true previously does not all of a sudden become false.
Right.
It becomes embedded in a deeper truth.
Yeah.
And that's true even when you look at continental drift, which famously had delayed acceptance among geologists. All the while they're still trying to understand volcanoes and they're still trying to and so they're coming up with local accounts for what would happen in a volcano.
Right.
When they had continental drift, that just attached to the continental drift. And there's a lot of that science that was completely portable into the new idea that the
Yeah.
surface of the Earth moves within
Right.
itself. So, have you ever wanted one of your questions on the universe?
So I hope that y'all got what was said, in the video. So I have to play this, especially for our good brother Unc, because he keeps using the term all out of context, and he uses a lot of scientific terms out of context, and this prevents him from understanding the conversations that we're having, right? And so you notice that when he said that when something has been scientifically demonstrated to be a fact, it can't be overturned. It can only be embedded within a larger truth, right? And so when it comes to this concept, for example, of the meaning of the word Kemet, there has never been anything equivalent to a scientific experiment that has demonstrated that the word Kemet derives from a root Kem, meaning black, right? And so, this what you find in a lot of Egyptological literature is not, in fact, an experimental consensus. It is, in fact, a popular opinion. And so you can't say just overthrowing science and stuff based on popular opinion. That's not how this works. And so this is why we have these kind of conversations. And as a scientist bona fide, I have to reiterate this. So of course, when I say this stuff, no one wants to listen. Hopefully, when Neil deGrasse Tyson, that it becomes clearer what it is that we mean, and why this particular concept is why this particular discussion is in fact important. And so, you only can come to a scientific consensus by doing actual experiments, not that one person makes a suggestion and then everybody agrees. That's popular opinion. And so we got to be careful about a lot of these non-scientists on YouTube trying to argue about science and scientific and trying to have these scientific debates. And as they stated, scientists don't settle scores based on debate, right? So anybody trying to argue, for example, that because Theophilo Benga and Sheikh Anta Diop and a whole bunch of Egyptologists had a debate in Cairo in 1974, that was supposed to settle anything. That's not how this is done, right? And so what I want to do is open up the panel. And so if you want to join the panel, click the link. And so if you are on Twitter or X, it's not going to show up for you. So you're going to have to follow us here on YouTube and to be able to get the link. So I put the link in the chat, and I just need to or one of the moderators, because for some reason I don't know why YouTube puts this dang heart emojis and crap right over the bottom comment, so I can't click it. So if somebody can pin it, who has a wrench, that would be great. So the chat to join, the link to join the chat is in the the link to join the panel is in the chat right at the bottom. Right, so got it. Thank you. So I'm gonna pin the message. Thank you, Zane Montego, for doing that. So the link. Oh, I see. Thank y'all. So a mod or a wrench can't pin it. So I just did. So thank you, Zane, for pushing up the comment. And so the link is pinned to the top for those of you who want to join. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that now. And so what we're going to go into is, and I was hoping that we could, have a few people on the panel, and then I will go into the presentation. And then, any kind of questions. And so it won't be like a full presentation. I'm just going to be taking bits and pieces from presentations that I've already done, right? Because I just want to emphasize a certain aspect of the presentations that we had on the quote unquote land glyph, because I don't know why they keep saying that there's no land glyph for Kemet, and that's just not the case. And so let me reduce the number of windows that I got up here so as not to move that. And I see that someone, or I heard someone, so let me go back. Peace and blessings to Brother Ujamaa. Welcome back to the to Earth.
Feast. Oh, Earth.
You've been out of space for a hot minute.
Yeah. I had to make my solar rounds. Yeah, Pluto is actually a planet. I don't know what Neil deGrasse Tyson was on. It, I've been there. No, that was an excellent excellent clip, and that's crazy because I had watched that I subscribed to that channel and I get the notifications, and I watched it when it first when they first uploaded. And I when I saw that part of it, I said I was thinking the same thing. I said, man, I'm gonna pull this part and use it, just keep it in the archives to use. So now that was good. That's on time, because I think people need to know that difference between a scientific consensus and what brings that about versus a popular opinion, and how science is overthrown or not. So that was good.
Indeed. Well, I know with you on the panel, I'm speaking to the choir, so I'm just gonna just share my screen, and we'll kind of clarify. And I know when I was on your program, I was my phone internet. I don't think it was the internet. I think it was Restream that was just kicking me out on your channel, on your platform.
Yeah,
so
that was strange. Maybe another time we'll do some tests and see, because I need to make sure that I'm not gonna have those problems, just willy-nilly problems with it.
Well, I'm be kind of skipping. This is from a presentation I did, dated to August 31st, 2023. And what was the title again? Grammar of the Classifiers, a lesson in reading the classifiers for semantic clarity. And this directly speaks to a number of discussions that are both on that happened on Garfield's YouTube channel, your YouTube channel, the Sesh Meta Netra group on Facebook, and my Facebook page, right? Dealing with the seated man and the seated woman, and how do we treat the so-called plural strokes in the word, right? So, if y'all don't know by now, I define Kemet as a pasturage with an abundance of grass and water. And I argue that it is cognate with the Sumerian word kiduru, meaning damp ground or irrigable land, or chiluba, chiankanda, a piece of land, field, a part of a field, a part of land being plowed in a day. In other words, farmland, right? And you'll have to get the book so you can see all the proofs, and where I got all that from. And what I also argue is that really it's a number of concepts that merged, and one of them dealing with land, or farmable land, farmland, or the land with the presence of water and vegetation, and then this other issue here dealing with the flooding of the Nile. So this is where the riparian comes from. And so, but it's more than simply riparian, because the other word riparian means is river. It's just, this is literally the Latin word for river, or the Latin pronunciation of the word river. How we pronounce it is river in English, it is riper in Latin. So this is where this comes from. So it's just a land with a river running through it. But it's unique in this case because it's not only a land with a river running through it, it's a land with a river running through it that overflows its banks, right? And so this is one of the representations of the word Kemet that you see here with the so-called Mer canal glyph. But it's not, they say it's a canal, but it's more than a canal, because this can represent a river itself, which is why you can see this classifier here that this arrow is pointing at, if y'all can see my mouse, in words for river, right? But it comes from the notion of to rise, to fill, and that comes to mean complete in this nominal form, complete and full, and then with the T is a place. So the root literally comes from Kim, complete, or Kim, to complete, to expand, to rise, all in the same, depends if it's a verb or a noun. But that's the what I argue is the root of the word Kemet as we know it. So they merge these two concepts, right? And so, this is a riparian zone. I know you have had a conversation on what the riparian zone is. I'll just leave this here, but simply a riparian land refers to terrain that is adjacent to rivers and streams and is subject to what? Periodic or occasional flooding. So it's not that there's just a river there, the river floods. So this is exactly what a riparian land is. It's one that rises to fill, it floods, it inundates, right? And so when based on regular sound meaning correspondences, when I talk about kiduru, we won't go into the proofs right now, but understand, for example, this lady right here, M. Erica Kautu Ferreira. I know I'm mispronouncing that, so I'm not even going to act like I'm not. But she wrote an article or a text. Let Me Be Your Canal, Some Thoughts on Agricultural Landscape and Female Bodies in Sumerio-Akkadian Sources. So she says that Kiduru specifically refers to, now I quote, a plot of land that has been conveniently inundated before plowing can take place, right? And so this is inundated due to flood, not rained on. Inundation refers to a river overflowing. So this is why we have to correct Ankh when he's talking about the main feature is this. He keeps harking on this black soil. He wants black soil so bad. And it is not the issue of the black soil. It's the presence of the overflooding of the river itself, the abundance of water, right? And so we can see that this feature is talking about certain rivers and streams in present day Iraq, which is ancient Sumerian. And when we talk about the Tigris, Euphrates, all the four major rivers that are spoken of in the Bible, the characteristic of all the four rivers is that they all inundate, they all flood and inundate the banks, right? And so they're all riparian in the strictest sense. So riparian doesn't simply mean that there's a river there. It is a river that floods, that has periodic flooding, right? So that's the key. That's the issue that is being addressed here. And so I give the semantic, evolution of how this came to be and how the terms in certain areas merge. That's another discussion for another time. But just in case you have forgotten what the word Kemet looks like in hieroglyphic, here is the word here. So this is Kim, this glyph here, the I6 represents the consonant sequence KM, because we don't know the vowel, right? So that's all it is. So we say Kim with an E, but that's not, it may not have an E historically, right? So, but this is KM. Then we understand the next glyph as a phonetic complement to the glyph here, right? So this represents the M sound and is attached to the M in Kim here, right? And so with the new text that Jean-Claude Mboli had just released, now he suggests another feature, and I've always said this myself. And I think Sir Alan Gardner even hinted to this as a possibility as well, that what we're calling a phonetic complement may not be a phonetic complement in the sense that traditional Egyptologists have said. But if you understand the monoliterals to exist with a particular type of vowel attached to it, the phonetic complement may be there to emphasize the final vowel after the M, right? Because KM may have its own vowel sequence. But if you say KMM with this M, it's to reinforce You know, it could be a ma, me, mu, me, you know, something like that. So, you know, really have to do some more experimentation to verify that, but that's a possibility that's being discussed now. So this is the T, the bread loaf, and then this is what we call a classifier, and this is allegedly a town, but as I argue, this is actually a canal. And then what the ancient Egyptians would tend to do is that when they want to label a territory, you know, or a particular space, they would encircle the glyph to denote space, right? But that's another conversation for another time. So we'll continue. So these are some of the representations of the word Kemet in reference to the nation, the state Kemet, right? So you can see on the left-hand side, Kemet here with the owl and the T and the N23 irrigated land determinative. Then we have Kemet here with the Mer glyph, which is the N36 determinative. And so as we are going to see, actually these two glyphs are the same, right? And then, you know, the more popular form of Kemet with the newt symbol, and these are really just two mer glyphs attached to each other. And I want everybody to understand that the N23 and 049 glyphs interchange. And as an example, I have this word here, sapat, courtier, gnome, necropolis, right? And then you have this word here, sapat, is the same word. Courtier, gnome, and you can say necropolis as well. The only thing that is different is the determinative. It's the same with the same meaning. So they're letting you know that these two interchange, right? And so, you know, besides historical comparative linguistics, I also study semiotics, which is a separate branch of linguistic studies unto itself. But I have found semiotics and semantics very integral in under not only understanding historical comparative linguistics and the use and the changing of words and meanings and the like, but also when analyzing scripts, right? And this is her specialty here. So this is Orly Goldwasser, and she has a book From Icon to Metaphor, Studies in the Semiotics of the Hieroglyphs, right? And so she introduces this concept of, you know, metaphoric and metonymic, categorical or schematic ideas that are encapsulated by the glyphs. So of course, these are terms taken from semiotics itself, but is being applied to the hieroglyphs. So she says the determinatives are related to the word preceding them in two main ways: metaphoric or metonymic, therefore categorical or schematic. Together they form part of a domain. Sometimes the word carries two determinatives representing both axes. Any arbitrary look at the determinative in the dictionary will reveal the kind of movement we are already familiar with, from the iconic to the metaphoric to the metonymic relations. The determinative may have an iconic relationship with the preceding word or more relate to it in metaphoric or metonymic ways, right? So what do we mean here? So let's give an example. So here's a meronymic classifier, right? And this is a taxonomic classifier. So it lets you know what category overall. The final consonant is usually going to let you know the final category, but the preceding hieroglyphs is going to give you more detail in narrowing what type of taxonomic icon this is. So we have this word here, Henuit, meaning maiden, right? And it's given with two classifiers. So why does it have a young man? A maiden is a woman, But why does it have a young boy hieroglyph right in front of the female, the adult female hieroglyph, right? Because this icon here represents childhood and youth. And then this icon here represents human female. It should be human plus adult plus female. So that's a taxis. So this is a maiden belongs to the female adult woman category, right? Or woman category, but it's letting you know that it is a young woman. So that when you're talking about a mating, you're talking, this is literally the definition of a mating, a young woman. So you have the word here, right? The pronunciation of the term, and then you have this box here, which is the classifiers, letting you know how the word is classified in the language. So it's giving you more details. Young woman, that's how you read these hieroglyphs together, right? So let's take another example. So this is the word, irayat, right? So what can y'all tell me based upon this word? And I know you probably just know the meaning, but since you're the only one on the panel, I'm gonna have you take a jab at this. What is being conveyed just by the sequence of the hieroglyphs here?
Yeah, in line with what you were just saying, the final glyph would classify the word in the category of female or women, and then the glyph before it, meronymic glyph, would give it a shading of age, elder age, because you have a man that's bent over with a staff needing a walking stick.
Exactly. So when you look into the dictionary, this word irayit simply means an old woman. That's the definition of the word itself. But it's giving you a visual what the word means. They're defining it. So they really don't have, the ancient Egyptians really don't need a dictionary, right? Like every word has provided its own dictionary visually for the term, right? So, you have the meronymic classifier, old age. This is what this represents. And then human female. So, iriyait, old woman. That's what the word means, right? So, I discussed this, in detail in the text, and I give, some of the examples that I just did. And so now let's look at this word here, right? This one's a little bit more difficult. So it is wahachia or wahahu, meaning fisherman or fowler, right? And this is the example given by Goldwasser. And she's saying that, well, I guess I need to go back to this. So, when we're talking about meronyms, for example, when you want to know what meronymy is broken down from Greek meros, part, and onoma, meaning name. Is a semantic relation specific to the field of linguistics and is distinguished from the similar metonymy. A meronym denotes an essential part or a member of something. So the meronymic equations are X is a meronym of Y if X's are parts of Y, or X is a meronym of Y if X's are members of Y. So when we go to these glyphs here, right, she breaks it down. So this is the G39 duck or bird glyph. It's a meronymic part-whole relationship to the act of fouling. So this is the word here consists of this root here with this masculine grammatical suffix here. So this is a masculine agent suffix. So it lets you know it is a person, a man who is doing something, who does something. So this root here is a verb meaning to fish, to foul. And then when you have the agent suffix, it is a fisherman, a fowler. So I hope that's clear. So the word stops right here. So this is the word. right? This is the main word. So anything after this are the classifiers to let you know what the class is. So it's letting you know that a fisherman and a fowler hunts birds and fish. And so this glyph here is the action of force glyph. So anytime that, any kind of action or force is being depicted, you'll oftentimes see this hieroglyph in the classifier section of the word, right? And then the taxonomics, the superordinate category of the fowler himself is a man. So this is the final, the taxonomic is the man who does some action, but in this case is going to be hunting fish and the fowler or birds. Fowler, for those who don't know, fowl is a bird, right? Or someone who catches fish and birds. And you don't necessarily have to say hunt, but someone who catches, right? So you can see that the hieroglyphs, the Egyptians, that's why, again, this concept that they were just being so super esoteric that they didn't want nobody to know about the hieroglyphs, the meanings of word is just BS. They went out of their way to let you know what they meant, right? So this becomes very important when you're looking at the word Kemet with the seated man and woman classifier. So I'm pretty sure many of y'all have seen this. This rendition, because this is the original is the hymn to Ursitessin III, or similar set, however they want to say it. And in the actual hieratic script, it's not in the hieroglyphic script that you see like this, right? So you mainly see stuff like this on monuments, but when they're writing on papyri, they choose to write in this form. It's faster and alike. But if you go to the original script, this is where it is. So you have to look for this in section 5 and 10, and you'll see where I have it highlighted. So this is the word Kemet. That's the Kim glyph. The T is under it. This is the man. This is the woman. And then this line is supposed to represent the 3 strokes, right? And you can confirm it, because the seated man and woman with the plural strokes is kind of all over this text, and so you can see it in this line here, and I have it highlighted right there. So if you can follow the text here, it'll let you know. So this is the Kemet, and this is the pot that you saw, below it, right? And so just to confirm that, the seated man and woman with the plural strokes, this is legit in the text. So don't let nobody say it's not in there. It's in there. I'm showing you. This is a primary text, right? So one of the things that I highlighted as well in this discussion is that the scribes would write words that are often standardized, but they would also have their own way of writing certain glyphs, which causes confusion, right? And I'll have to cite those other citations in another presentation where that is explicitly stated by Egyptologists, right? But this is something that I wanted to point out, or that I did point out in the 2023 text on race and identity. And so this is the book based off his PhD dissertation titled, which was also titled this Toponymy on the Periphery, Place Names of the Eastern Desert, Red Sea, and South Sinai in Egyptian Documents from the Early Dynastic until the End of the New Kingdom by now Dr. Julius Charles Cooper, right? So on page 31, I forgot what he says beforehand, but he says that is because the etymology of the place name now has no inherent meaning when it is used in a proper noun. It may be given a different classifier. But the same toponym could have different classifiers depending on a host of variables, some of which would have been reference specific, or in the other words, however a scribe understood the place name affected the classifiers they chose to append to the toponym. So let's deal with the first thing first. The etymology of the place name now has no inherent meaning when it is used as a proper noun. So for some reason, let's just say that, for the sake of argument, that Kemet meant the black people, right? Anytime that they use the term, it wouldn't of black people because it's a proper noun at this point. So they're not using it in its quote unquote original sense. And most proper nouns often, kind of lose their meaning over time because nobody uses the word that derived the word in a normal sentences. That's why, as Ujamaa would always say, for example, a place name never is used to describe people. It can't be used because it's not used to describe anything. It's just a proper noun at this point, right? And then the author goes on to say, but the same toponym could have different classifiers dependent on a host of variables, some of which would have been reference specific. Or in other words, however a scribe understood the place name affected the classifiers they chose to append to the toponym. So this is an added level of difficulty here because, there's no way that you can identify individual scribes, even to interrogate, why did you choose this classifier when the standard classifiers is this? So some renderings of words is just an individual scribe's personal preference or the way that he understood what was going on, and may not even be related to the meaning of the word itself. And so before we go on, you got anything to say?
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. Yeah, my mic was muted. No. It's it should be clear, and I hope that everyone else is following along. I noticed that no one else has clicked the link to chime in on the discussion and kind of give some engaging feedback to if it's being understood. So I was just looking at the chat, and I guess people are following along.
All right. Yeah. All right. So on pages 31 through 32, he continues the conversation, and this is going to be important as well. So he says, when he's talking about the classifiers now and what they're used for, right? And so remember that his entire text is about place names. That's what toponym is, right? It's literally place name, right? So this is a text on ancient Egyptian place names, right? So he's talking about the classifiers and how they're used in Egyptian place names, right? So these unpronounced graphemes, the classifiers, are important for an understanding not only of the larger principles of the Egyptian labeling process, but also pertinently to this thesis for demonstrating the Egyptian efforts to categorize geography by using certain classifiers. This process of classifying places reveals how scribes ordered places and accordingly how Egyptian elite culture conceived of their world spatially. Conversely, these signs may also reveal different scribal traditions and paleographic tendencies rather than having any inherent effect on the meaning of the lexeme. So I'm going to stop there and then I'm going to continue. So what he's saying is that you can have, based on his analysis, you can see, how should I say, classifiers attached to words that have no relation to the meaning itself. So that's another level of difficulty for which we have to navigate around and confront directly, I should say, right? So, when you're doing any kind of research, you always have to understand, all of the issues and standard understandings of things when you're approaching your research question, right? Because if you don't have these things in mind, then you may venture off into the wrong area and your conclusion will be wrong. It sounds like you was about to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that earlier you mentioned semantics and semiotics, and I like to underscore that or stress that because I think that that would help a lot of people out. Um, even while people may be navigating their navigating and learning the Egyptian language, definitely have to take up some basic course or some foundational information of dealing with semantics because there's a whole thing about meaning that is very like when you grow up and you're speaking your mother tongue every day all day. There are a lot of things that we take for granted because it's not like focused in on, and until you study semantics you won't really understand these things. So like when you showed before where a toponym never describes people, and in my conversations that I've had over the years is I always use the word referent because that's what the technical term would be, that a toponym always refers because words are really an illusionary phenomenon because the word itself, especially when it comes to substantives or nouns, the word itself, what we're calling a word, is not the thing itself. Like an elephant, the word elephant is not an elephant. It refers to an elephant. So substantives really stand in for the reality. It's not the reality itself. And when people can understand that, then when we say semantic, which means meaning, the meaning emerges in different, it manifests in different ways. And so when you study semantics as a discipline, you'll be able to see the different ways meaning can manifest. So a toponym refers to places, never people.
Mhm.
And so I think that to me is easy and simple, but I understand how it could be confusing. But that's why, I'm just underscoring. Hopefully people will maybe, I don't know if you know a book offhand, but I'll probably try to dig up a book on semantics that's at a foundational level that maybe people can dive into.
Yeah, I did in my 2015 book, Nesubiti. It's either, I think it's chapter 2. No, it may be chapter 1, because I may have done it introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2. That I start off with a whole chapter on semantics with a whole bunch of source material in it because of understanding how important it is when doing this kind of work. Semantics and semiotics. But I want to continue the rest of this text right here. So we read this boldly read part. Conversely, these signs may also reveal different scribal traditions. We're talking about the classifiers at the end of Egyptian words in the hieroglyphic script. Paleographic tendencies rather than having any inherent effect on the meaning of the lexeme. So now we continue. While particular toponyms regularly employ the same classifier, the classifier, aka determinative, for a single toponym was subject to change due to a variety of complex considerations, including textual medium, that is the papyrus or monumental inscription, the date, the locality of the inscription, and what may be considered as scribal preference. Again, this is if you don't include scribal preference, hold on one second. I heard someone on the phone too, so I gotta we got a SAR MK. in the building. Hold on. There we go. Forgot it's different on the phone. Peace and blessings, Asarim. You there?
My brothers in the top.
Hotep, Hotep.
Welcome back, brother Ujamaa. It's been a minute, man. Where you, yo? Yeah.
Hey, peace to you, Asarim Khan. Yeah, just for the record, I want to be technical. I'm not back. I'm here.
You know, we used to have discussions about the conscious community, so I understand your sentiment.
Yeah, I'm not coming back to the mess, but I am here now. So that's why I worded that way. I'm just being stickler. But yeah, peace to you. So it's been a minute, definitely.
Yeah. Now I disagree with the toponym can never be an ethnonym. We had the disagreement before. So with that discussion, I have to say that we have to look at ethnotoponyms, because when we talk about ethnonymy, ethnotoponyms are part of that. And in this case, where the question would be, if we say it's the black land, or if we say it's this, we need some type of primaries to point to it being the black land. We don't really have those, but we do start to see them point to themselves as Kim and refer to themselves as Kemet. And so that's what makes it look like it's probably an ethnotoponym. So while we're asking experts, can you show us the primary resource where it calls itself the black land, or the people say the black land as opposed to saying Kemet, we don't really have those. We just find Kemem, which the original two arguments display. You have Sheikh Diop talk about Kemet, referring to the Negroes or the black people of the land, and the other one is referring to Kemet, the soil. But like I said, we're having a hard time finding the primary that points to the soil.
All right, and so this is what we're going to be dealing with in this conversation, because it amazes me that people who really in 2024 still try to argue and remember, this is for the people who are arguing that the word Kemet, the root is Kim, black, right? Mm-hmm. So you know, we'll
get to it. I'll let you finish your presentation. Yeah, go ahead.
No problem. So again, just wanted to emphasize from this text here that, you know, you have certain scribal preferences, right? And, you know, unlike in modern art, you know, where we sign our name after everything, they didn't do that back in the day. So the vast majority there are some scribes who have come down through history, but we don't necessarily know which text they've penned, right? So, you know, we have to keep that in mind. So when we're looking, for example, of the word Kemet with the seated man and woman and 3 strokes, then, you know, we have to wonder, why are we finding it only in one location, in one text, versus the other the other hundreds of thousands of variations of the word Kemet throughout the 3,000-year history. And so, you know, this is one of those anomalies where, you know, scholars have come to the conclusion that this is one of those scribal preferences, right? Like, this is just one scribe. And so because you only find it in one text, it falls scientifically and mathematically under chance coincidence, right? Because it could be an error. Only when you find it, you know, like 3 or more times can you in separate times and separate locations can you start looking at a pattern, right? And so statistically, this is the one instance that we have of Kemet written like this is what, you know, falls under the error statistic, right? So now when it comes to the the seated man and the seated woman, we have to understand it within the context of the meronymic and taxonymic understanding of the terms of the hieroglyphs itself. And so when you're reading it like this, it is only referring to the nation, a country, and what makes up a nation or a country or a place, people. And so the way that it is written is still written in the classic sense of these glyphs being used to describe what kind of the taxonomic classifier, which is the larger category. So the larger category in this case is represented by the 3 strokes, is a place or the abstract, right? And when the presence of this is here, you often, probably like 70% of the time, will see the word, the actual word, that you pronunciate ending either with a W or a T. And so you'll see this representing the collective, you'll see it representing the plural, you'll see it representing the abstract, and you'll see it representing place. And we've had plenty of discussion showing that the abstract is the word for place, right? And so I give this example here, this word remeniet, which is a domain or a department. And you can see these 2 renderings of the same word. So you see one here, remiet, remiut, with clearly the abstract scroll here and the 3 strokes. And then in another rendition of the same word, you'll see the irrigated land, because you'll see that any of the glyphs for like space or location can be substituted for one another. And so sometimes they're written out like this, in the case of like when we see this Kemet here with the N23 irrigated land, because it's just letting you know this is a place, but it is giving you a specific type of place near the river where the banks overflow. But in this sense, so this is, but so when you're talking about a domain or department, they're all places, so they interchange, right? And we can deal with some other examples. And I show that when you see the 3 strokes, and this is for, what's his name? Brother Seku, who is having a hard time understanding this on Facebook, right? And this is coming from my text, Race and Identity in Ancient Egypt, Volume 1, right? And so I'm showing you examples with the singularity of the 3 strokes, right? So let's look at these examples here. You see this word here, jet, meaning surf. But you see here that it has both a man and a woman and the 3 strokes. Actually, it should be read, so how should I look? This word, the jet, right? This is the actual word here. This is the word, this is ta for land. So it should be read the jet, a surf. What is this? A surf? Land workers, or someone who works the land. And then you have the taxonomic classifier here for the abstract or space, right? And then you have indigent here for subject, slave, serf. These are not collective. This is not plural. But you see plural strokes here. So it's letting you know here that this is used in multiple ways, right? So we have this phrase here, remech izet, workmen, a workman. So why does this word that is a single man have both a man and a woman? Because it can refer to either a man or a woman. In the plural, of course, it could be both. But this is a person into work. So again, it's a single man. Why does this single man have plural strokes under him? We're not talking about people here. It's one. Here we go. Remech Neb, anyone, someone, somebody. And these numbers, because again, I screenshotted it from my text. These are all the sources. So in the footnotes, you'll have these are footnote numbers, and you'll see in the sources for where this is at. Right. So and then of course this last one, Remech Meshihi, conscript military rank schoolman. Right. And so I state none of these forms are plural or collective. They are all single constructs, and the plural strokes in these instances may represent the T agent suffix. And so I cite a source here to let you know about the different T suffixes and what they mean. And so this is Gabriel Takax's text. Just as the word dejet can represent a single serf and possesses both the seated man and the woman, as well as the plural classifiers, the form Kemet can represent the country in the singular, with the people classifiers simply representing the nation as a place, right? And then we have, for example, Kikongo Kuma, a place. And remember that they believe that the word Kemet is pronounced Kumat, right? So you know Kuma is a place. Right. And so understanding the nature of meronymic and taxonomic classifiers, if the ancient Egyptians really wanted to stress this notion of a black land, right, they would have written it like they write all the other glyphs, with land being a taxonomic classifier and then the meronymic classifiers being more descriptive of the larger category, the taxonomic category. So what's in the red here at the top, these are hypotheticals. These don't exist. But if they wanted to say Kemet, the black land, they would have written Kemet. They would use one of the color glyphs. This is the main one for black, which is the morning sign of hair, or the morning hair sign, the falling out hair. And then either with, N23 or the, I believe this is the N21 and N22 glyph here for land, but you never see that. And there's not one example like this. Or if they wanted to say black people, they would have said Kemet, the sign for black, and then the seated man and woman. You never see Kemet written like this. Even this example here, it does not have that, because that's not the context in which the word should be understood, that this is meaning black people. And we know that this is what they would have done, because this is exactly what they have done with other words. So for example, Kimi, the black one, Osiris. We have the word Kimi here. This is the word. And then you have the determinative, the meronymic sign, describing the larger category of the of deity. So it's saying the black deity, the black one. This is exactly how they written it. This is an attested form of the word, right? When they want to say the colorful one, this is Iwinu, right? Because this is also pronounced Iwin as well. So it could also be used to reinforce this, but this is the sign that they would use for like color and texture and stuff like this. And again, since we're talking about the sun god, it's a larger category of deity, which you see the seated man with the long braided beard. So when they wanted to say that, they explicitly said this. They defined it as such in the hieroglyphs using the meronymic taxonomic schema that we discussed earlier. And so remember that I said that this sign is also used for death, mourning, things that are negative. So you see it in the word here for to mourn, to wail, grieve, moan, grief, sorrow and to lament, right? This iriakeb, right? So you see that as the classifier for that. And so when you have the so-called nisba at the end, the one who pertains to, or the one who mourns, it is erekeb bi, the mourner. And how do they describe it? How do they use it? In the same way that that they use up here. The hieroglyph is used in the sense of negative or mourning, and it's describing a particular deity or man. And so same thing here with itikeb, meaning mourning or to cry. So there is the meronymic, because this is a sign of, it's letting you know it's a sign of sadness, right? And it also interchanges with the word bird, which I describe and give examples in the text. So you have the seated man here pointing to the face, meaning the action of the face. In this instance, the eyes, the one who cries, right? Or, you know, sometimes if it's mourning, it's more so of a verbal, you know, rendition, right? So we have plenty of examples in the script continuously throughout its history that if they wanted to describe the Black land or the Black people, this is exactly how they would have done it, based on the evidence and the logic of the hieroglyphic script. But that is not the case. So we know, so this indicates to us that this is not what is meant when they're talking about the word Kemet, because the word Kemet has nothing to do with blackness, right? And so I want to stop there. Do you have anything to say, Ujamaa?
I just want to show what I'm showing on my screen, just to maybe just kind of fill in a small gap for people to understand something. I don't know if you can. Okay, yeah, there it is. I think that's big. Yeah. Just real quickly, in morphology, there's a thing called morphemic analysis. You have morphic analysis, where you deal with morphs themselves, and then you have morphemes. And without going into the difference between morphemes, what I want to show is there's something called a portmanteau morph. And that's just a fancy word. It's a technical word, but it's a fancy word for saying many, showing many morphs or many morphemes or many meanings, little nuggets of meaning, but only in one visual representation. So, like, for example, what I have on the screen is our English pronoun she. And this is what I mean by when we speak our mother tongue every day, all day, there's a lot of things that takes place in our language and communication that we take for granted, that we don't pay attention to because we just utilize the language and we're not analyzing anything. But the pronoun she is actually a portmanteau morph because it contains three elements, three morphemes. The pronoun she represents, in the category of person, it represents third person. Because, in every single conversation or engagement, there's a phenomena of person. The person speaking or writing, the person who is being spoken to or written to, and then you have third person, which is the person being spoken about, personal thing being spoken about. All right, when we were young, we say, it's an A-B conversation. See yourself out of here. That's the same thing. So she is a third person pronoun, but it also represents the gender category, grammatical category of feminine. And then it also represents the gender numerical category of singular. So these are actual morphemes. These are actual underlying phenomena that's taking place all within this one English word that we call a word. So she is a third person feminine singular pronoun. And this is called a portmanteau morph. Now, the reason why this is significant is because when we come over to the ancient Egyptian writing system and the language, we have the same thing. But it's a little more confusing to see it because, one, we don't even pay attention to it in English, let alone, our own language. But in Egyptian, you won't catch it. So here's the Egyptian word sejim, and it means to hear. And this particular word is sejim menef. And so this is a full word here, a single word, even though when we transliterate it, we break it down with dots and equal signs and things that may look confusing. But this is a single word. And in this word, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 morphemes in total for the whole word. But what I wanted you to pay attention to is this F, which is this horned viper glyph. This is a pronoun in the ancient Egyptian language, but it's the third person, just like she was. But in the gender category, it's masculine and not feminine, and in the numerical category, it's singular. So this is a third person masculine singular pronoun, and in English we say he for that equivalent. So this word is he heard because this N represents the morpheme of past tense. So it's not he hears present, it's he heard past tense. And then you have the root, the lexical root of hearing, to hear. So hear plus past tense plus third person plus masculine plus singular is what this the complete meaning is he heard. But mind you, this is just one word in the Egyptian language, but in English, it's two. We spell it with two separate words. So I just want people to keep that in mind so that when we talk about Kemet, for example, the most popular rendition of the word Kemet spelled with these 4 glyphs of the I6, the owl, bread loaf, and the 049 classifier, that this T on the end that a lot of people were paying attention to, that this T represents several different morphemes at once. So it represents place, abstract, and then the word is singular and feminine. And then you have the root coming from, what Asar explained, dealing with the filling up of water, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just adding this in so that people will know that there are a lot of things that are taking place that we're not aware of, and you won't be aware of until you actually dive in and investigate and study these things. So this is what I've just been advocating for people to actually become acquainted with morphology, at least on a basic level, and semantics. So I just wanted to share that to kind of fill in what you were saying, Asar.
Indeed. And just to add to that just a little bit, from a linguistic standpoint, this happens as a result of separate morphemes coming to sound alike at some point in its history. And so what happens is that these separate morphemes will, quote unquote, merge together over time because they sound exactly alike to where they become indistinguishable. So this is why you see in many instances going on in ancient Egypt, but you can't be 100% sure until you figure out the vowels, because it could be like in a case of collagen, like if we was to take out the vowels of collagen, they have suffixal and prefixal T's as well. But when we put back the vowels, they're separate vowels altogether. So like a speaker at a particular time in ancient Egypt will be able to tell the difference between, the place T versus the feminine T versus the agent suffix T, et cetera, because it's different vowels that are not being represented in the script. But that's a deeper topic, and we're still trying to get people to recognize the basic monoliterals in the general public. but I will continue. Let me share my screen again. So, let me go back. I'm just gonna make it full screen. I just gotta remember where my screen is. So this is the last leg of this. So this is from 2019, a response to Dr. Mario Beatty at ASCAC Part 3. I'm keeping the same dates on here, showing that we've covered this stuff dozens of times already, right? And so I'm gonna go back to the slideshow. So of course you already know Sumerian Duru, Kiduru, Kemet, wet irrigated damp ground, irrigable land, etc., right? I won't go into the mathematics of linguistics, but here's two representations of the word Kemet here, right? And I showed this slide earlier from the other presentation, so I won't go there. But what I want to emphasize here is that I wrote a text in 2014 where I talked about the newt symbol, because there's a lot of folks confused about this newt symbol here. There, somebody suggested that this was a city plan, right? That these are crossroads in a city. And there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever for that to be the case. And there have been several scholars who have challenged this notion, including myself. And what I suggested in the 2014 text when I was dealing with the word Kemet is that it is just a cross section. It's just a circling of this cross section here of the Sapat symbol, which represents various incoming. So this is why, like in one instance of the Sapat, you can see it is more square, but then there's a leaning aslant, like what you see in the 049 glyph, right? And then that, the 049, I made an argument there that the 049 was just a close-up of the irrigated channels, for farming, right? Like that you can see in these different areas here. Right, so you just take one slanted crossroads, you put a circle on it, and that's the newt, right? And so when I was preparing, because my 2023 text was supposed to originally come out in 2019, but since then, since the 2014 text, I came across another text written by Jonathan von Lepp that was actually published earlier in 1997. And he came to the same conclusion that I did. And so this comes from his article right here, where he's showing that the Mer glyph superimposed in a perpendicular way here, which is encompassed by a circle, and showing how it is related to this Sapat glyph here. And we know that these are also symbols of the gnomes, right? And so for those that don't know what a basin is, this is a reconstruction of Egyptian water basin, right? And I give the source in the 2023 text, right? So you can see these so-called crossroads. They weren't driving, they didn't have crossroads like we do. But they had dikes, basins, river waterways. So the water would flood, it would go in these channels, and they would, square them off so that, and then they would have vegetables and other things planted in between there. And you just release a valve and let some water in, and that's how they watered it, because there's no rain in Egypt, or very, very little rain. Right. So this is the process of what a basin is. So this is what this represents, a basin, so-called canals. And there are some legit canals as we think of them, but this is more so a basin. So what the newt symbol is letting you know what it signifies is that this is a domain. That's what the circle represents, a domain where the Nile water floods reach, So you can't go too far into the Desheret because the flood doesn't go that far. So wherever they can build these basins, that's where the people lived, and that's where it's populated. So this represents a populace where the Nile River flood waters reach, right? And we go into a deeper discussion on the different colors of the newt symbols and what they represent. Again, citing Van Lep and others, and Petrie and prehistoric Egypt, et cetera, et cetera. I won't go into that, but I did want to go into this. So this is from this text here, Ancient Egyptian Calligraphy: A Beginner's Guide to Writing Hieroglyphs, Henry George Fisher, 3rd edition, right? And on page 35 of this text, he's showing you how to write the different landscape glyphs, right? And so the N23 irrigation canal, what does he say? He says, in my Dendera book, a previous publication, I note that the Old Kingdom determinatives N20 to N22 and AA12, these different land glyphs become N36 in Dynasty 8, and late in the N23, late in Dynasty 11. This is the same time that that Kemet becomes a label for the state, right? So they both come in at the 11th dynasty, which is why when you see the earlier forms of Kemet, they have the N23 glyphs. But he says, so these glyphs, these land glyphs, become the N36 glyph. And the N36 glyph becomes the N23 glyph. In the hieratic, this sign occurred in the Old Kingdom, right? And a hieroglyphic, he gives some text here. So, right, so boom. So it's just letting you know that these determinatives became N36 and the N23 in Dynasties 8 and Dynasties 11, respectively. So when you see these two symbols, N36 and N23, which is this, they are the same as this, because these represent the actual the banks. This is why this word is Wajeb, the bank and river bank, and that's why Egypt was called Wajeb or Idebwi, the two banks, the two lands. And the hieroglyphs for that was this, because what's on the edge here, this is the land, this is the water in between. So this is why this is going to be used as the river or a canal, because on each side is land and in between this is water. So there's different various ways in which they're showing the same thing: land, in between water, land, water, land, encompassing, right? So it's giving there's different types of land. So then we go back into Sir Alan Gardner in his Egyptian Grammar, 1957, and so the N20 that Fisher was talking about is the quote unquote tongue of land, whatever that tongue of land means, is the determinative in Wajeb or Wajib or Ujib, however you want to say it, in the pyramid text, which is a sandbank, a shore. Right, so this is the bank. This is a river bank. So again, the land adjacent to the river, right? And then using Wajib to turn back. In this example is used phonetically, right? Then we get on to N21. So this is just a variant of this. It's shorter and then it's tilted a little bit. So land determinative, especially the abbreviated EDIB, bank. So you can see that EDIB bank, it is classified by what? The N23 sign. So EDIB bank region Idibwe, the two banks, therefore Egypt. So you can see Idibwe, and they're both classified by the N23. So it's letting you know that the Idib falls into the category of irrigated land. And how was ancient Egypt irrigated? By the inundation of the Nile River. All of this should be making sense. More widely used in Dynasty 13, then often taking the place of the earlier N23, and examples in Ta Earth, right? Because Ta Earth can be written with the N21 or N23 classifiers. And then there's Achet Fields. So you can see the plural strokes here, since this is plural. And it's not suffixed with W because the T is the collective here. So it's the fields in the plural here, right? So this makes sense as a plural here. And then we have Demi town, right? So this let you know this is a town, but where were all the towns located? By the edge of the river. And Wageb, right? So it's just a variant of this. So just let you know that these were replaced by these. These are interchangeable, which is why, for example, you see when you go into the water bush, these are both taken from the water bush, the Adolf Erman, or Adolf and Grandpa Adolf Erman, and I forgot his first name, the Grandpa dictionary, the Water Book dictionary, right? And so you see this phrase here, Emir Kemet Neb Desheret Neb, the king of all the cultivatable and desert lands. This is the word Kemet here. What is it determined by? N36. And then in this variant, Kemet is written with the N23 determinative, the same phrase. So it's letting you know that these are interchangeable. So Emir Kemet Neb Desheret Neb. But this is the N23 sign that's given here in the water bush. And so when we go back, I note that in the Old Kingdom, the determinatives, the N21, and I think this is the AA12 here. Excuse me, the N20. This is N20, but it's all those that we saw earlier. So that includes this N20, N21, N22. That's what he's talking about. And then this flatland here became N36 and the N23. So if these words for land, which is really land along the river, the banks, became these, when you see these are land. Anybody talking about there's no Kemet with land glyphs is a lie, because that's what these are. So by the same logic that, for example, Sheikh Anta Diop was trying to state, he was saying that when you see the seated man and woman, that you would have to read this as Kemet as the black people. If Diop's logic is correct and this word Kemet derives from the word Kim meaning black, you would have to argue that this means the black land, which even Dr. Mario Beatty admitted in his video or in his presentation. So when someone says that there's no black land, they're lying. It's all over. There's many examples of these, unlike the seated man and the seated woman glyphs, right? And so even when you go into the water bush, it tells you here that these determinatives, Kemet is written with these determinatives here, primarily N23, N36, and 049.
I just want to interject something.
Go ahead. Just
so that people can keep up. That I noticed, because some people may not be used to your presentations and my channel, your channel, etc. and they may be getting information from elsewhere. But when you say the Water Book dictionary, and then I
The
know people,
TLA.
yeah, when people say the TLA and things like that, I just want to interject so the people will know that the TLA, in a nutshell, is a database, is a digitizing project done by a team of people to digitize what was already written in actual books. So the primary source for the TLA is the German Ermin Grabhall Water Book, but they're also digitizing actual text and things as well, which is a huge benefit for researchers. But I just wanted to make sure that's clear, because when you show on your screen the actual handwritten text dictionary, some people may, in their mind, may think that the TLA supersedes that when it's the exact same thing, because the TLA gives the actual reference. When you see a bracket, I don't know if you could stop in anywhere where you have like an open bracket with WB on your screen anywhere. Like,
well, I'll have to go back to a presentation. So let me.
yeah, the word it is what you
So,
just had.
right, click
Where?
one of the links in the TLA, and it's going to take you to the handwritten information that was originally given, which they call the Water Bunch. So it's
Yeah, they give the
basically
slips. They call
right.
them slips.
Yep.
But no, that one right there. Yeah, right there.
That's handwritten. That's
So
been taken and digitized and put into a digital application called the TLA, so that you can reference the work without trying to make out the handwriting.
exactly. So you're saying exactly what I'm saying. But I just want to emphasize this though, because I've had to explain this before recently. That, so for example, sorry, where you have Imi Emir Kemet Neb Desheret Neb, and then you have the open bracket WB5, comma 126, close bracket. That WB stands for the Water Book, and then it's volume 5, and then it's page 126, and then usually sometimes they'll have even the actual item on the page after a colon, but that's not necessary, but that's the page. And so I just want people to understand what that is, because it may look like chicken scratches to people who are new, who come across this for the first time. I know I would probably be confused if I didn't know, So that,
Absolutely.
just wanted to point that out, because people are asking for primaries and not really understanding what they're asking for. But go ahead.
Yeah, when you digitize it, that then you're going to it makes it easier for the people to understand. The same way when we talk about demotic, I can read demotic text, but it takes me a while. So I always say, you know what, if you pull that out, I'll be like, you got it, because I'm not about to try to read the handwritten demotic text on a live, which will take a long time to break certain things down. Certain things look familiar and the same to each other, and it's a little more difficult. So with the Demotic text and even handwritten hieroglyphic, which is what the TLA is comprised of, both and more with the Demotic and the Coptic as well, it's very difficult to see that way. So what they did is digitize the text. Now, the only part we're gonna disagree with a couple things, because you said Kemet can't mean black, and you also said,
I don't think he was finished though.
oh,
Because I had interrupted. I had interrupted
up.
just to. I'm sorry. No, sorry, I'm kind no, because I want to be fair to sorry, because I interrupted him to interject just that point, but I didn't know if he was finished or not. So I
Yeah, let me
apologize.
shut up. Let me
I
shut up. Go
apologize.
ahead, brother.
And now we can't hear him.
Sorry, we can't hear you, fam. We see you doing stuff. You're off mute, but we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to blame myself. I interrupted him. Now he can't.
He did
even
this
speak.
moment that you sabotaged that. We'll wait while if you need to go out and come back in, we'll wait in here, fam. You know what it is.
I think he's hosting, so that's gonna be.
Yeah, but you know how you got to get off and then come back in as yourself.
Oh, unmute right there. Unmute. No, it showed that you were muted. Wait, go back. It just showed that you. Yeah, unmute. Now speak. Oh yeah,
Can't hear him.
can't hear you.
You might have to leave. Don't end the
Can't
chat.
hear.
Just leave the conversation and then come back into the conversation. Give
If you leave,
Ujao the
if you leave
control.
studio, wait.
Yes, he would
Okay,
go.
all right, still there. All right.
He just can't end the stream. If he ends the stream, it's over. So yeah.
Okay, but no, you were both of us were saying the same thing. I was just letting people know who are not familiar with when we say water buck, that's an actual dictionary that took 15 years to produce, handwritten by the German School of Egyptology, and then it's easier to digitize it. So the TLA is an actual database of digitizing not only the dictionary but also the corpus of Egyptian text, and it's an ongoing project that is still underway. So just so that people will understand, because a person literally was engaged talking to me thinking that the TLA is superior to
The water
book or whatever, and it's, I just had to kind of let them know that it's the same thing. And I show, when you drill down, when you go into talking about the each individual lexical item or lemma, you can actually go to where they have the slips, and they actually have a screenshot photo of the actual section in the water book. And there's a SAR, and I still
we see you. We can't hear you.
say something again. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Check your volume control on your. If you have like a microphone, you may need to disconnect it and just go straight to the computer, because sometimes they do that. Like if you got a mic and you got a sound box and all that stuff. Yeah, and we were agreeing with that in particular, for sure. Because when it comes to the water butt, you should know it's the same thing. People don't know that, so you definitely. I just was helping.
Oh, there we go. I think we got some audio.
Did you hear?
Sound. Yeah,
we can hear you now.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
I don't know what the heck is going on with this. And see, this is why, as a backup, because I've had problems before. I log in twice. I don't know if y'all can see in the bottom. It says engineer is offline. I guess y'all can't see it. So I'm on my phone. So if I have to leave here, it won't get disconnected. So it's still both accounts.
Now we can hear you actually better now than before.
Yeah, same mic. I don't know. Yeah, something's going on. I'm sorry. Y'all continue.
No, we were buying time.
You got back.
We were buying time. Come back.
Try to get back in the building, baby.
Indeed. Well, I just wanted to share this, and I'll end here, and then we can get back to the open forum conversation. And so this is what I shared on Ujaau's program the other night. And so this is from Henry Gauthier's Dictionnaire of geography names. This is what this here in the hieroglyphs. And so this is a sometimes in the late period, the word Kemet is going to be spelled with the hieroglyph, which traditionally has been considered a Q type K or a rounded Q. And so you see Kemet written like this. Let me increase so the people can see. Right. So this is from my text in the appendix C, where I give all the different variations of the word Kemet. So you see this word Kemet here in the Demotic, and it says rare variant of the name Egypt. And I translated from the French and the German, because a lot of these, once we hit people to the TLA many years ago, people think that you can only find stuff on the TLA, and that's why you got to go to libraries and or purchase them expensive books, the ones that the Egyptologists rely on, because then you'll get the more complete variants of the Egyptian terms that we're looking at. So here, you can see, a rare variant of the name for Egypt, Kemet, the Black Land, and in Demotic, you have this variant here, and I've confirmed that this is in this particular text here. It's a German text. You can find volume 2 in online on PDF, but I haven't been able to find a PDF of this one here, the Demotic Papyrus I-384 of the Leyden in PDF form. So I had to go to the University of Penn Museum Library to confirm. But this is a variant. So this understanding of Kemet being a place and dealing with land, again, Kemiu, this is the
house for her.
Or it's really just a demarcated space, because it can be a house, it could be an office building, it could be a temple, it can even be used to refer to a window, based on this area here. And then, of course, here we are again with the N21 tongue of land glyph. And so here's another rendering of the word Kemet with a land determinative, right? And so anybody arguing that there is no land glyph, it can't be Kemet dealing with black land because there's no land glyph. We've debunked that a million times, right? And so from the earliest period in the 11th dynasty all the way to the late period in Demotic, Kemet is written with classifiers denoting land, and more specifically, land adjacent to the river, the banks of the land. Therefore, a riparian land, because that is exactly what this is talking about. And so we're specifically talking about land that the Nile waters reach, and it can only be reached by the banks in the flood areas here. They're literally defining it as a riparian land. And so I'll just end there. Oh, let me reduce that, and then we can come back to this at a later time. And so just to remind everybody that this is an open forum. So if you want to join the conversation, the link should be pinned at the top. And so even though, been talking, I want to give my good brother Asarim the floor. Go ahead. And before you go, I just want to welcome to the conversation Chilimbwe. Peace and blessings, and welcome to the Mbongi.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
All righty. All right, go ahead, Asarim.
So yeah, for the most part, you got a lot of things are on point. I like that last glyph you showed with the tar spit of land. But I'm gonna disagree with the 2 points. Sheikh Antijop's argument, and also the Kemet not meaning black. Because when we you mind if I share my screen?
Can you clarify? Because I'm confused, because I've been gone a while. But when you just said you disagree with 2 points and then you just named them, are they points that I've made or Asar's made?
I don't know if
I'm kind of putting us together because of our
right
thing. But
now, if you lean
when you say
Diop,
Diop,
this during this stream, he said Kemet has never meant black. So if you
I don't
rewind, he
I
said
don't
that.
remember I don't remember that being said, because we pretty much almost every time we address this, we always say what the arguments are not, and that's actually one that's not. Like, there is a word Kim that means black, and we
Right.
we acknowledge that Kim means black. We acknowledge Egyptians describe persons and things as black, and the whole nine. So I don't know if that's where you were disagreeing with, but I don't think that we've ever made that claim ever.
So then that would
Never
be a
in life.
retract, because on this very show, right before you had interjected the first time with the SAR, you said that.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
You
I
may want
said
to rewind the
this.
tape and listen to that. Just
This
only because you
is
said
what
that.
I said. This is what I said. And now I'm going to say what I said, but then I'm going to put what I said in a greater context.
Okay.
Real brief. So I said that there is an argument that the place name Kemet derives from a root Kim that means black and is defined as the black land. But there has not been an analysis to demonstrate that Kemet derives from a root Kim that means black. And so I'm not saying that it could not mean the black land. What I'm saying is that there hasn't been sufficient evidence to suggest that Kim, black, is the root of the word Kemet itself. Now, the larger context, which I always have to reemphasize, is that there are a number of Kims in the language, KM rooted words,
That's true.
using the same I6 glyph. So in the analysis, and I'm not sure if you were here from the very beginning, but we showed a video discussing exactly Neil deGrasse Tyson and Dr. Levin, two astrophysicists, discussing how science works and how, you know, future experiments add clarity and things to previous experiments, right? And so in this context, you know, somebody made a suggestion, but nobody went around proving, to prove that this in fact was the case. So that's why I say this is the hypothesis, but nobody has been able to demonstrate this as a fact, in contradistinction to all of the other homographs that exist in the language, the larger context.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that it couldn't have at some point, that somebody didn't interpret it as such. But you know, because there's pseudos in ancient Egypt, just like we got pseudos now.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
But
yeah, the importance of paying attention, that actually came out. So when you go back and you listen to the tape a little bit before, you said that, which is why I was a little off kilter and a little confused.
I think you're the only one that heard it that way, though, because that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because
Catherine heard it too. We heard it. That's why I'm saying you got to make sure when you say that is preference properly, because if we rewind the tape.
Okay, let's okay. I'm gonna
about it.
Okay, because I don't want to stop you from your flow, but I'm gonna rewind while you're flowing, and I'm gonna play it because I don't want this to happen again. Not with you, but with anybody, because I've been doing this for so long, and I swear I don't think people because I know me, I choose my words very carefully, and you know, I say what I say for reasons, and I know Asar does the same thing, and I didn't hear that, and plus I'm already familiar with the arguments for the past 10 years, and that's never been the case. Yeah, so it just sticks out, and it's odd. It's odd with that, but I'm going to rewind though, because you said that it was said, and I'm just curious because if that's the case, but I'm gonna rewind. But I'm listening.
Yeah, absolutely. The second.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to welcome someone else to the conversation. So welcome King J to the Mbongi, and we'll get to you after Chilimbwe, but we're gonna let Brother Asar Mka finish. Go ahead.
Appreciate that.
All right, Imhotep King J. So when it comes to Sheikh Antijop's argument, his exact words, as I look at it, he said the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves. He puts the I6 glyph, the bread loaf, he puts the two people and the three strokes. And he says equals Kemet, the Negroes literally. And at the time, that's exactly what they called them. This is the strongest term existing in the Pharaonic tongue to indicate blackness. It is accordingly written with a hieroglyph representing a length of wood charred at the end and not crocodile scales. This word is the etymological origin of the well-known. So this is his exact term and his phrase. So when he says this, there is no land glyph. We're talking about the people strictly. Because the land glyph comes later, when we get to terms like Kemi-Iyat, and Kemi-Iyat, the Iyat would refer to the irrigated land, of course, because that's when you're talking about the land. Or in the Demotic even, let's go real late, right? Let's go real late. 3 uses of the actual Kemi, but 7 others referenced as Kemi referred to Iyat in the hieroglyphs. So when we go into Tameret, like on the Rosetta Stone, or Hortawi, the land of Horus, and Tawi, the 2 lands, this is a little different than the Iyat. Iyat is referring to the lands, but notice how there's a descriptive in front of it, Kemi, because this is when the T falls off of Kemet, and they refer to it as Kemi. And so in this case, it becomes Kemet, it becomes Kemi-Iyat, or black land, literally. Kemi-Tawi, another place name in the Demotic we can find. And Kemi-Iyat a few more times, and Kemi-Tameret, also in the Demotic. But you notice that the Kemi still stays black. So I just want to make sure that we preference that the black was there and the land is after to follow. So that could be the case, and that's really a case between you and Smash to discuss, because he would be the progenitor saying that there is no land being referred to. But when it comes to the Nwit sign, that represents city.
Can I say something?
So,
I don't
go
want.
ahead, brother. Hop in real quick.
Okay. I have a question for you because I don't. All right. On Diop's assumption, which I have on the screen that we showed many years, right? He makes the statement, as you quoted him, the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves, Kemet, the Negroes, literally. So my question to you is that a factual statement?
The factual part would be that they referred to themselves as that. The only, no, because they've also used Remetched and they've used other things to designate people.
Okay, so let's pause there. So now notice how you answered that, because it's either a fact or not. Like Diop's claim is that the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves, because we're not going to put words in Diop's mouth or take them away. We're going to say what he said.
Well, then we would go to Theophilo Benga.
Well, no, I'm talking about.
However, he would clarify.
No, but let's deal with what Diop said. We're not going to let Obenga speak for Diop.
Well, Obenga's the one who made the argument for Joe. So when it comes to Sheikh Antijop,
wait, so Theophilo
Benga argued the linguistic portion of the discussion.
But wait,
so we need to look at that first. Secondly, when they referred to themselves, is he correct by saying they referred to themselves as this term?
But that's not my question.
Is it the only term?
No. Listen. Okay, but I just want to be clear, because I don't need a lot of the other stuff.
Well,
what I'm saying,
but
I'm not. I don't, because you're doing a lot when the sentence is on the screen, right? It says the Egyptian. This is quoting Diop, not Obenga.
That's who we quoting. So
Okay, I
we
don't. So I
know-
don't. Wait. I don't. So it does no good to bring up Obinga when I'm just dealing with Diop's words, right? So Diop is saying in his book, because you quoted it earlier, I'm just showing it on page 46 through 48 of his book. It said he says the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves, and I asked you, is that true or not? And you end up saying it's false because it's not the only term.
No, you're bringing conjecture here. The reason you're bringing conjecture is because you would like to harp on the fact that it's the only term. We know there's
No,
more
I'm
than
I'm
one
I'm
term.
only dealing with what
The
he
question
said.
would be,
I'm only dealing with what he said,
The
though.
question would be, is it the only term or is it also a term? And in this particular instance, it is a term. So if you would say that, I would turn around and say, well, did they call themselves Kemet?
No, but I'm not doing hypotheticals and
That's
what
not a
ifs.
hypothetical. That's a question to you.
No, what
Did
I'm
they
saying,
call
no,
themselves
but
Kemet? Is he right
okay.
on that point?
Okay, wait. I want a
Where you
clear
going?
answer. No, I want a clear answer for my question first. And so the statement
answer you can
says, wait, the statement says, as you and I both can read it on the screen, the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves. Kemet equals Negroes, literally, period. I'm asking you for that statement. Is that statement true? As we read it. I don't want you to put your own.
No, I'm going to give you a yes or no. I want you to do the
it.
same in return. So
right.
if we put only in there, no. So I'm going to ask.
No, wait. See, why do you?
We just did it.
Wait.
We just did it.
I know,
So,
but wait. You said if we put only in there, we don't have to put anything in there. It's in there.
So if we put only in there, that's what we got to discuss. The question back to you is he incorrect in calling them Kemet the Negroes?
Okay,
you got to answer his question first. You tried to avoid.
Just answer yes or no. Exactly. So is it yes or no? Is he correct in calling them Kemet the blacks?
I missed the answer to my question first. I'll answer yours.
You got it already. No. So
okay.
The question to mine
so that statement is not
correct?
Right.
Yes or no?
Okay, I'm gonna answer you, but I don't want to go 90 miles.
We're not going 90 miles. Everybody understands the simplicity of the question. When he says Kemet equals the Negroes and Kem equals black, is he correct? Yes or no?
He's not correct in the statement as it is, and I think you agree with me. But you have
we going yes or no here. Why are we dancing? Is it yes or no? Is it Kemet correct in him saying they're black?
The statement is wrong. That it's not the only term that they use to designate themselves.
Same thing I did.
Listen.
Preference and explain it.
I'm not.
Just say yes or no. Is he right or wrong when he says?
Okay, brother, Sar. Hold on. Brother Sar, you're avoiding answering the question directly because you know what the implications are.
I've already answered the question, brother. So
no, let's for me.
Ask the question and it was answered. Now
what was the answer? What was the answer? Hold on. What was the answer that you gave?
My answer was no. He'd be incorrect. Did you not hear that part?
No, I did not, because you kept going other places. My mind went somewhere else.
Even my long answer said no first because he would say only.
Okay, now go with your
simple.
Now go with your question.
Is simple because everybody want to hop in, but you don't want to answer the question straight. Everybody want to explain.
I'm a straight shooter. So, ask me your question, and we're gonna see the difference.
Kemet equals the Negroes literally. Kim equals black. Is Sheikh Antijoke wrong or not?
Yes, he's absolutely wrong. Now, see how I answered that? Yes, the Dr. Sheikh Diop is wrong on that.
So if you claim he's wrong on that,
wait,
let's go into
I just want to pause for a second and see.
Right,
so
wait. I just, in that answer.
I just want to take a moment. I want to take a moment to see the difference between how I answer questions and how you answered my initial question.
Well, you went around the bend a lot, and then you finally just said no.
No, I did not. I never even
like I didn't answer, but I answered you first. I said he's not correct in saying only. So I already said not correct.
That's
in
not
the
how
beginning.
It went down. But okay,
it is. All you gotta do is rewind the tape. You just didn't want the rest of the explanation. But
and it's not
you're
going to
saying
support
that
what you're saying.
Kemet doesn't mean
But let's
black,
go.
right? Because
Nah,
that's what he's
no,
saying.
that's not what. No, he says the
He
Negroes
says
talking about the
adjective.
people.
We don't
Talking about
gotta
wait.
add
He's
words.
talking
His
about
statement is
no.
right there. It says the
He said
Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves.
the
Kemet,
Negroes. The Negroes.
In Egyptian language, a word of assembly is formed from an adjective or a noun by putting it in the feminine singular, Kemet, from the adjective kem equals black. You're saying that's wrong.
You asked me about Kemet equal the Negroes.
That's what he said.
Where my cursor at? Put my cursor on the screen here.
But
All right,
we gotta hold on.
along.
So
Hold on. We gotta
saying
keep
that's
this
wrong,
in
right?
context. We gotta keep this in context because Diop is making this statement simply based on the Wartabush entry with Kemet with the seated man and woman hieroglyphs, right? And so he's taking that to he doesn't say directly, but this is the implication that this is the main entry for the word Kemet and that all the words should be based upon this one entry.
No, because when we had this discussion before, I told you syntax is important. You need the sentence in order to know even which Kemet we're discussing.
Diop never analyzes the sentences in any of his works.
Sheikh Diop always analyzed the sentence.
No, he did not. I can pull up the text. I'll pull up the text right now and we can follow it, and I'll show you that he does not.
Yeah, I was looking for. Can you pull up Diop's actual book? Because this is my slide.
Yeah, I got the actual quote here. That's why when I was trying to present in your black screen.
Well, that English is probably going to be in
here it is right here.
the Ivan Van Sertima text.
Yeah, it is.
Right
it is.
Y'all see that?
That's what I'm saying. No, I can't see anything you're showing.
If you're showing on a camera, your camera is not on. But if you're trying to share your screen, I don't see a.
Here, let me see. Window, there, share. There, go right there. This is from the book.
Okay, scroll. Do you have more of the book? Because you kind of.
I can open the book and we can get into the book.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to show that page, that particular page. I have it, but if you have it faster, if you could share it faster, that would be great.
Hold on, let me stop.
Well, while he's doing that, Chilimbwe, welcome to the Mbongi. You have a question or comment? And we'll get back to Asarimka.
All right. Yeah. Thus far, I don't really have a question. I'm kind of just like, trying to get an idea of what y'all have been discussing. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I actually wanted to ask you, Asar, about you possibly interviewing the good brother Kiatezwa Lubanzadi Luka, if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I think you've asked me that the last time.
Yeah.
And I just hadn't been, as you can see, I haven't done a show in a while. That's because I'm taking care of some other things because I'm in the middle of translating Jean-Claude Mboli's 2010 text into English, and also in the middle of publishing another book for Dr. Chilimalema Mukinge. So I haven't had enough time to really do any shows, but I do plan on starting some more interviews and the like in June. So it may be a possibility. So I haven't forgotten. But yeah, you brought him up the last time.
Right. Now I just feel like that would have made a whole lot of sense. So yeah. But other than that, I'ma just, you know what I'm saying, listen and let y'all know if I have any questions.
No problem. Sorry, Kyle, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
I saw if he's still gathering something. Is it possible that I can read something real quickly? I was researching something from the religious practice and cultural construction of animal worship in Egypt. If possible, if I could read a quick sentence from it, it can shed a little light on what everybody's talking about.
All right. Is the book a physical book, or do you have an ebook that you can share the screen?
I am reading an ebook. I can't share my screen. Yes, I can.
Hold on, let me unshare.
Yes, you can, or
I can't.
or
I
you
can't
did?
share. Yes, I can.
Okay, so share. Do you know how to share your screen here?
I'm going. Do I go to do I go to settings or stream this to your audience?
It should at the bottom have like present. There should be an icon that says present at the bottom.
Let me see.
And I see your screen as well. Sorry,
I'm gonna
Kai. When we
I can't share it this second, but I would just want to read it quick.
well, go ahead. Yeah, now hold on. What's the title of the text again? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Are you there, King J?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm here. Okay. Yes. There we go. I'm reading. It says here the Kemet herd first appears as.
He went out.
You can't hear me. You can't. I'm going in and out.
Yeah.
As soon
okay.
as you started talking, it just went out.
Okay. Well, basically, the first thing it says the Kemet herd first appears in a title of the herdsman of the black cattle. So, are we familiar with these? So, I went through a lot of these different title territories, and all of these title territories from the 6th dynasty have this one particular title, Emi Ra Kemet. Now, y'all may know what that means, right? Emi Ra Kemet.
Or Emi
Yes. So so I found that this means overseer of the sacred cattle. I've also found Enet Kemet, valley of the black cattle. I've also found Emira Kemet Deseret, Emira Kemet Ha. I found Many Kemet, right? And the black cattle. So it's clear when we're talking about referencing the sacred divine herd, there are several texts that the actual word for the black cattle is Kemet. And these are titles that from the 6th dynasty on up to the 12th that I found. So we're mentioning the divine herd is not a person. It's literally the cattle, the black cattle. So
okay, I want to pause that for a moment because that's a totally separate conversation, and so we'll deal with the herd in a second. So we're going to come back to your statement. So we're not abandoning it. I'm going to let Asarim Ka and Ujamaa finish this segment, and then we're going to jump back into what you said because that's something totally different. But
okay, no problem.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a Asarim Ka screen. Everybody can see it. Let me make it full screen so everybody can, so you can zoom and do whatever. But so yeah, so if Ujamaa still there, did you want him to go to something specific or go ahead?
No, he could just start where it says the Egyptians as they saw themselves. We could just read it.
So it is no waste of time to get the views of those principally concerned. How did the ancient Egyptians see themselves? Into which ethnic category did they put themselves? What did they call themselves? The language and literature left to us by the Egyptians of the pharaonic epoch supply explicit answers to these questions, which the scholars cannot refrain from minimizing, twisting, or interpreting. Of course, he was in the racist era, still racist, but not as bad as them. The Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves: Kemet, the Negroes, literally.
All right, pause right there. Now you and I finally, or you finally answered and said that that statement of Diop's is wrong.
Well, I said only would be the wrong portion of it, but
and
Kemet,
the
there. Negroes, literally is correct.
Okay,
and
but now
asked you
now
after,
we're doing it again.
No,
Wait.
I asked you right after if you agreed with Kemet being the Negroes, and you're on the record saying wrong. It's not black.
Yes,
right?
I've been on the record for the past 7+ years, but
Okay.
I'll only pause your reading of this now is because I wanna we're gonna trek through the conversation. So you and I both agree that the sentence that you just read, the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves, and then he gives the glyphs, the equal sign Kemet equals Negroes, literally, period. That statement as it is wrong.
Is not fully correct.
So see, that's what I'm saying. All right, everybody, I'm saying
this is what you're trying to do.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to do anything. What you're doing. No,
you're trying to
what
say
you're
it's
doing
incorrect,
is
correct. So if you're
I'm not trying to say it. I'm not trying. I said it. That is wrong.
Right. So then you're saying this. So you're trying to say it's incorrect. So
I'm not trying to say it though. I'm saying it is incorrect, and you have a hard time agreeing with it.
You got to prove it, right? So this is what we're here at. So if he says the only term,
it's not if it is there. You and I both can read it.
Let me finish the sentence, my brother. Goodness. So here, I'll help it out.
All right,
when he says the only term to designate themselves, there are more terms than this one to describe ancient Egyptians. To describe ancient,
which means that he is wrong.
Let me finish, brother. To describe ancient Kemet, but the term he uses is part of those descriptions. So it doesn't come out just because he said the only one. It's just
nobody
he hasn't
said about
named
it coming.
all of them.
Nobody said about it coming out.
Clear.
Wait. Asar, hold on.
When you say he's wrong, you messed that up.
Asar.
He's not.
This is what we.
You breaking up.
Yeah, you breaking up.
Diop is clearly wrong here, and I'm gonna show why. So I'm gonna if we need to reshare your screen, we'll do that.
Not sharing? Yeah,
no. I said reshare because I'm about to share my screen.
Oh, well, let's finish this part before you hop into something new, because we've got to get the understanding correct. There's two things. One, when he says Kemet,
I think everybody understands.
I think most of them understand. They should know that Kemet means black and that this is one of the terms. It's just not the only.
Which means, but Diop said only though.
So
Diop said only though, right? Wait.
This isn't one. Are you saying that this isn't one of the terms?
I'm not trying to subtract anything as you're doing.
Okay, then. So this is one of the terms. We got to go.
But hold on.
Diop said it's the only term. Diop said it's the only term.
He's wrong in saying it's the only, but it's one of them.
But he's
wrong in saying it's not one of them.
But see, here's the main issue again, and this is why I got to share my screen. So I'm gonna share two aspects of the conversation, right? So I got to remind everyone, because this is what people keep missing in the conversation, right? Let me go back. This is my text here, and so there's. All right. So again, I took the painstaking efforts in Appendix C. All right. So hopefully everybody says so. I cite the Warta all throughout the text. So and everyone there. So I wanted to show other dictionaries that exist that Egyptologists use and the different meanings of the different words for Kim. So this is J. Cherney's Coptic Etymological Dictionary. So you can see the Coptic forms here. Not important for this because this is written in the Coptic script. Listen to what I'm saying. This is written in the Coptic script.
Yeah, so that's the last form of Egyptian.
But hold on. So now, if we go to Ashraf's Alexandra Sadiq and Yvonne Banami's Dictionnaire Hieroglyphs François, and again, I'm translating from French and a German text into English so that everyone has access. What I want to show here is why the question even comes up in the first place, because this is what the question that Diop did not ask, and many scholars did not ask before me, right? So again, so we have in this entry the word. So this is on, for those who have access to the dictionary, you can find these on pages 506 and 507. All right. So you have Kim with the hair determinative black, right? And here's a variant of it with the abstract glyph, as well as the Old Kingdom variant of the I6. This is I6A glyph, right? So then you have a Kim here, meaning to total up, to rise, to get up, stand up, hinder, to mount, meaning to go up, to climb, to finish, to end, to terminate, complete, to end, to destroy, to remit, to tip, to pay. Right?
Different meanings, right? Yeah.
Hold on. So these are different words. Remember that there's no vowels. We don't know what the vowels are. These are different voweled words. These are different words. They just use the same glyph to represent the consonants in sequence KM. Let me make this just a little bigger. Hold on. Hopefully this is.
It doesn't take away from anything.
Hold on. Listen. Just listen.
Go ahead.
All right. So as the verb and as the nominal form, the noun, conclusion, completion, accomplishment, but also kemenat, in completion of a moment, within the blink of an eye, kemenwenet, within an hour, also profit, gain, advantage, duty, task, right? It's in the phrase kemetef, primordial form of Amun. You have kimiyit, or kimi, the feminine collective herd of cattle. Kimu, horny plaque, so-called chestnut, patch of a horse's leg. Kimiyit, a conclusion of a book. Kimword, a Bitter Lakes region, name of a location. Kimword, a name of a divinity. Kemet, name of a place, the Black Land. And here's some variations of that. Kemet, collective, Egyptians, the people. Kemet, jar. Kemet, completion, accomplishment, narrative, story, final statement, etc. Right? So there's all these different variations, and actually this one is wrong. And let me see.
You said which one is wrong?
This one here. So this is what we're disputing, because you
Why?
can't read it as Egyptians in the text. So we'll have to do a separate. We'll have to do a separate rendering, because this is the one that's in the, because remember, there's only one text with this variant here,
right? It should
and
say
it can
black.
only it should just say Kemet. It's Egypt, because it's the name of the state, not the
Can't
people.
say Egypt, otherwise it'd be right. It has to say black people there, because
No,
we know
Asar, stop. Okay, so you have Kemet jar and then Kemet completion. So there's different Kemets, right? So let's go. We continue. So this is more Coptic. This is a simplified Coptic dictionary, so we'll skip that because we're looking for the glyphs, right? So we have the New Kingdom text, Leonard H. Lesko, a dictionary of late Egyptian, right? So we have Kim, space, completion, Kim, twinkling, right? And it's supposed to be a variation of that. Kimi, completion, conclusion, Kim, to be complete, full, Kim, to be dark, Kim, to be blind, Kemet, to be black. In these different variations, Kemet, herd of cattle,
black
Kimi,
cattle.
complete. Look, calm down. So, right. So there's different variations of the word Kim, and so to assume that Kim in Kemet means black totally neglects, for example, the word Kim that means dorsal fin. Let me search for dorsal.
Black one, black, also the black bulls.
Hold on. So this is, because this is Kemet, this is a dorsal. This does not mean black dorsal, it's just a dorsal, right? That's what this is here. So this is another dictionary where I give you, there's a word Kim that means crown. It's not the black crown. It's just a word for crown,
Gotcha.
right? There's a word for dorsal fin.
Black
And then a
leather.
middle instrument. There's a number of Kims in the language. They're homographs. So when you have these different homographs in the language itself,
Black
to
leather.
argue that Kim and Kemet means black land, you have to prove that in distinguished as a Kim for damage, destruction, for treading, right? It's a how do we know it's not the Fin land or the destructive land, etc.? You have to go through the process of elimination, and this is why the determinatives are key. The classifiers are key, because these are homographs. You just can't make a guess and then just say that's it, and then don't go through the proving process. There's a Kim that means food.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody asked where it shows riparian.
Oh, that's a totally different conversation.
See, a great black one. So we know it means black. We know it also means other things.
Do you understand what a homonym and a homograph is?
Yeah, and it's synonym and some other things. But when
no. I specifically, do you know what a homonym and a homograph is? Can you just stay there for one moment?
Brother. Why are you trying
to answer the question?
Why are you trying to deflect, bro?
This is not a deflect, because you're not getting the conversation. You don't understand the process, the research process.
I understand perfectly.
No, because you're making a definitive statement that has yet to be proven. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. And if you don't understand, that's fine. We can move on.
So
same spelling but different meaning.
Yes. Same spelling, pronunciation, but different meanings. You can use you can use things like there, meaning those people. You can use there, like we're here. You can homonym is one thing, but you're trying to act as if I haven't told you early in the conversation what makes the word usable, and we know its meaning is the syntax, the sentence. So we already know we need a sentence to clarify these things. In certain cases, we don't, but generally we need a syntax. So if you don't have
you need more than a sentence, you need more than a sentence as well.
You need comprehension of what the syntax says. So
no, that's definitely
the other thing. So
well, that's not the only other thing, but what you need also is practice. Well, you need a lot of things. You need the full text, because the hymns to Senwasaret III. You need to know the context of what a hymn is and the purpose of a hymn, the function of hymns. People need to know that. Then you need to know the full context of the entire set of hymns and why they are what they are. Then you drill down to sentence and even the morphology, where you break down the morphemes and morphs of the specific words you're dealing with. So all of that, and then obviously what you said, overall you got to be able to comprehend.
And this is why I cut to the chase when he said homonym and threw out synonym, because they're similar, and there are other words and other thoughts that can be derived from those same words. So
no, but I want you. But the thing is,
I need you guys to admit
what?
To the case that it also means black. As soon as you see black,
no, it doesn't. Also, you don't know. Obviously, you don't know what a homograph. Listen. Obviously, you don't know what a homonym or a homograph is, because you keep making these statements saying that it can also mean. It can't also mean.
Can a homonym be used as a synonym?
No.
You're what?
Good gracious! Listen. Hold on. No. We have to be serious. We have to be. Listen.
So that you don't get embarrassed or
no. We have listen.
Making memes.
Like I know. I haven't been around for a minute, and it's nice to have fun. But let's be serious for a moment, right? When just do this and follow me, and let's just keep it simple. Just for example's sake, give me an example of a homonym. Just give me one. Just give me one homonym.
I gave you there.
Okay, there. Okay, there.
You pointed out there.
Okay, there. Okay, nice. All right, let's deal with that. All right, let's pause. So let me deal with this. So there, and I'm assuming that you're using the homonym there, and I'm gonna spell it because we don't have it on the screen. THERE, and then THEIR. Are
Yup,
those the
keep going.
two you're dealing with?
Keep going, because there's THY
No,
apostrophe RE.
I'm
Keep
saying
going.
is that no, I
But
only want one
they
example.
are is not a
It's a
Yeah, that's
homonym
not.
too.
No,
If you
that's not.
didn't know.
That's not
Yeah.
even a word. That's a contraction. But listen, listen.
That's a contraction, and it's
It
not
is
a
because
word.
you got to put a
Contraction is a word.
apostrophe.
You can't
but
say
you
it's
put-
not a word. It is one. So
Listen,
we use it in a sentence. It's part of the
Listen.
syntax. So
no. Listen to me for a second. Listen to me a second. There's actually two words. It's contracted together. All right, but I'm only, for example's sake, I only wanted one set, and I'm asking you, is this a sufficient set? There, as in THERE, and then THEIR. So those are two. That's a set that we will call homonyms, right?
correct.
Okay. Now, you said that they're the same. That earlier you said that they're the same, and they're not. Like,
What?
because they're holograms. They're homographs because they mean the same, and they don't.
No, not the same meaning. I went through the fact that there means location. Then I said there means theirs, and then I covered there, which is a
You said there means there.
basically.
No,
Yeah,
theirs is a
you messed
third
that up right
person possession. Okay, so
there. It
there's
means they and
THEIR.
are put together when you
No,
talk about there. Yes, it
TA.
does. If you don't know, it's they and are put together equaling there.
No, that's THEY
EY
apostrophe RE.
RE.
That's not the one I said, though.
Exactly.
That's
I
not. But that's not
named
the one
all
I
three.
said.
What you mean to what I said? I said all three of
hold
them.
on. Okay, so let's do this. This is why I said the two words. I said a homonym and a homograph. Now, to Asar's credit, there they are is a homonym
Yes.
to there and there. Because the way that we pronounce it, would you say they are?
Correct.
You know, so that it's, if at most it could be a quasi homonym, you know, because it has a little extra stress. But you couldn't confuse it graphically. Of course, it's
we want to get everybody caught up linguistically.
It's not a
Definitely
homograph.
grammar wise.
But
So
so I just want to interject that. So now the question that he asked that you said is, can you show us an example where a homonym is used as a synonym?
Yes.
Homonym is a synonym. When I said homonyms are similar to synonyms because they're similar.
That didn't even make sense.
No, that made plenty sense. We just had to show you that they are is how you make there with the apostrophe. Brother.
Okay, wait.
What you missing now? You already messed that part up. So homonyms that are
brother.
synonyms.
Listen,
just because I can't think of one of those off of my head.
No. Listen,
because we're switching arguments just to try to get one in.
No.
Synonyms are words that have similar meanings. For example, bank can refer to
now. Okay, wait. Stop this. Synonym.
A river.
Okay,
so
listen,
I went right to one that makes sense to our conversation.
I understand, but you tried to make an argument. Listen.
Let me finish. That way we can have a discussion. So homonyms are words that have same spelling and pronunciation but different meanings. For example, bank can refer to a financial institution or the edge of a river. Synonyms are words that have similar meanings. For instance, happy and joyful are synonyms because they both convey a positive emotions. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. So generally, you'll find homonyms different than synonyms, but they're similar in degree because synonyms are describing the same thing. So when I mention synonym and the homonyms, it's because we're talking about what? What were we talking about? Let me see if you remember. We were talking about Kemet, right? And Kemet meaning black, huh?
No, this.
We were talking about it means black, and then you named. Hold up, let me finish because you want to hop off of that, but you can't. So
no. I'm the one who started this aspect of the conversation, and I'm gonna tell you where I was going before you interrupted and went somewhere else.
Go ahead.
Okay, so a homonym, as you stated, is words that are spelled or sound alike, but have different meanings. A homograph is a word that is written alike but has different meanings. Two or more words that are written alike would have two or more meanings. In the context of ancient Egypt, you cannot speak of homonyms because you don't know the vowels. You can only speak on homographs, and that's really only in the context of the roots. So to say, for example, that the KM, means one thing, but it can also mean this and also mean that. These are separate words together, and they're not homonyms. They're homographs.
But
And
you
so we
call them
have to
homonyms.
listen.
That's how we got here.
You have to be careful in how you word these things, because for those people who don't read and write hieroglyphs, they get confused. And I have to keep stressing this. The I6, for example, the I6 glyph, the Gardner sign I6, is a hieroglyph, a biliteral. It represents two consonants in sequence.
Okay, and then, yeah.
Right? That does not mean that every single word that is used, every single word that uses that glyph to represent it,
which no one said
that they are pronounced the same.
Yeah, no
and
one said
it is
that.
for this. Listen, I'm trying to get you to understand how this conversation begins, because you are assuming again that Kim, you did, because first of all, there is no Kemet. Listen, there is no Kemet in the dictionary that means black. The only time there's a KMT is that means black is when there is a noun of the feminine form and the adjective has to agree with the noun. There is no Kemet black.
Okay, so homographs are words with the same spelling but have more than one meaning. Number one.
No, that is.
Can you share my?
That's correct.
I'm sorry. Can you share my screen?
Not.
Homographs are different from homonyms, which is why when you said it was a homonym, I said, okay, so be it. And then I named 3 homonyms. That's the other thing. Now, you just said that there's no Kim in the dictionary that means black, or Kemet in the dictionary that means
Can you learn how to repeat what I say correct as I said it?
That's what you just said. We all heard.
Listen. No, we all heard me say that there is no Kemet that means black.
Exactly.
That there's only a Kim. No, you said that I said that there was no Kim that means black.
I said
and
Kemet.
a Kemet. Listen. Yeah. Okay, so quit misconstruing my words.
Well, here's the dictionary here. Let's take a look and see if what you said is true.
Okay.
While you put in the dictionary, I just want everybody to see my screen. That
you want to share instead?
The word there and the other word there that I was talking about are homophones, meaning that they sound alike, but they're 2 completely different words. They're spelled different, making them not homographs. They're not spelled alike either. And then to what I was pointing out to Asarim Ka is that these are not synonyms, because he made a false claim earlier that they're also synonyms. And so they're totally different. Synonyms and homophones and stuff are different, totally different. Okay, synonyms mean similar meaning. Like the word land, for example, the word land could be talking about the dirt. It could be talking about a nation, a state, a place, et cetera, et cetera. So when people say that there's no land glyph, or whatever the case is, it's talking about a place. If you read in the Egyptian text that so-and-so is the Lord of all the lands, is it saying Lord of all the dirt? No, it's saying Lord of all of the nations, or all of these different places. So people got to understand, even when they're asking or making these claims, like there's no land, or find me where Kemet is talking about land specifically, as if you're talking about dirt itself and not a place, a region. So anyway, I
But
just want to
think
make
we
I just want to
understood.
make I just want to make that point that Asarim Kar, you were wrong about synonyms.
I don't think so, but I think we understood that earlier. And then our brother confirmed.
Sarkar, you just all over the place. And you don't know
Now I'm
what
all
word you
over
be
the
saying.
place.
Yes, brother, you all over the place.
Y'all funny. I'm gonna let y'all finish up.
I want you to finish on that page because we come
I
back
gotta
from
go now. We got a little didactic and it's getting past that time.
that
We
page.
can have another discussion though. Y'all know where I'm at. So
So hold on, I wanna share my screen because this is
go
something
ahead,
that we
brother.
keep missing. Y'all keep
Imhotep
interrupting.
Sen. It's good to see you back, Ujao. Do your thing. It's good that you do a big work, sir. Imhotep. Shout out to King J in the building.
All right.
Imhotep.
Yeah, remember I'm not back. I'm here.
Whatever that means. No, but so remember, okay, so what I was stating is that the problem with Diop is that Diop in his text did not analyze the primary source. He just read the dictionary and then he made an analysis from the dictionary. He mentions where the source comes from, but he never analyzes how it is used in a sentence in the grammar, right? And so even later, you have some folks who claim, remember when Reggie tried to use the term Kemet in the pyramid text to say that this was the Egyptians, right? And so we had that discussion, remember, from the Rainer Hanning dictionary, and showing that when you see this Kemet here, that it means the people of Ethribis, right? So this isn't the Egyptians. Kemet is the people of Ethribis. And what's interesting is that, you know, and I cited this in the 2023 text, and we just had, I've shown this plenty of times, but they always skip over this, right? So this is from the journal, the Review of Egyptology, a French journal. And there's an article written by Leclant, and he's analyzing the text of the pyramid text of Pepi 1 and 2. And so I have in the original French here this aspect of the conversation. Here's my translation here. So when he talks about, you know, because remember, in the Waterbush, the book that Diop had access to in 1974 and 1977, they had Kemet as Egyptians. So even when you go into the Water book now, when it says Egyptians and Kemet, well, now they've blocked it out because they realized that was a mistake. But Diop, they didn't have a TLA then, and the subsequent journal article. So this was 1975. So after, this is 1 year after the Cairo Symposium. So Diop didn't have access to this, obviously, because he still made that mistake relying on the Waterbush. But since then, this is the more up-to-date 1995 Rainer Hanning Waterbook Dictionary. It has Kemet, the people of Ethribis, right? But even in this journal article here, back in 1975, they recognized this. So it says that we have for a long time interpreted Kemet as Egyptians. An interpretation in an essay by Otto was presented in the Betrag zur Geschichten, I don't know how to pronounce that, in this journal here, Egyptian, pages 14 to 15. Faulkner, in Ancient Egyptian Pyramid Texts, pages 288 and 327, assumed that it was the people of Ethribis. The present, so this is, what year was Faulkner published? Somebody find that out and get back to me. So it had to be prior to 1975 when this was published. Right. So I'm trying to make a point here. So Faulkner, Ancient Egyptian Pyramid Texts, assumed that it was the people of Ethribis. The presence of the bull and palimpsest in our new text of Pepi I confirms this hypothesis. Kenwer is mentioned as such in Pyramid section 556C. So he's showing here that that he's in agreement, and they come to the conclusion that Kemet in this sense is not referring to the Egyptians, but the people of Athribis, right? So this is a bona fide Kemet, but it's not the Egyptians. It's only the people in that one particular nome. And so this was already suggested by Faulkner in the previous text. This was already in a peer-reviewed journal discussed in 1975, but Diop skipped over those particular texts in his 1977 work when he actually puts this to paper, and not citing that, and still going off of the older 1950, what was it, 54, 56, Adolf Erman text, Waterbuck German dictionary, right? And so then we have, of course, in the 1995 text, and then in most moderns, because even the modern TLA now has it as the people of Athribis, right? So when we gotta also keep Diop in context of the sources that he was using at the time and how the scholarship has updated since then. And you still have people trying to make arguments from outdated sources that Diop was using. And so when Diop makes this claim, for example, that it only refers to the black, because he's looking at Kemet and he's looking at the word Kemet out of context, because he doesn't read the primary documentation, with the seated man and the seated woman with the 3 strokes glyphs under it. And so this is why we have to be careful, and why when you're doing the research, you have to keep all of this information in the back of your mind, and which is why you always have to read up-to-date source materials and arguments before you start trying to make arguments, especially with material that is 70 years old. Right.
I'm okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking for the page. I know Asarim Khan had to go, but I am looking for the and I wanted to share Diop's actual the book itself, because I think what people don't realize either, and we've explained this years ago, but people may have missed it, is that in that section where Diop incorrectly says that the Egyptians only had one term to designate themselves, that the brother had a hard time admitting to, but in that section, there's a superscripted footnote. I believe it says number 44, and when you read the footnote, it shows that Diop himself was not the one that even came up with that. It was by another gentleman that's mentioned in the footnote that nobody knows anything about, and he has nothing else published or anything. It's just a person's name mentioned, and then that's it. And it's coming from the dictionaries. So so in the book, it admits that, one, it wasn't Diop that came up with that, found that term, that another person found the term, and where they found it from was in the dictionary that already existed. But Diop said it was found on the African side. I'm trying to find it so I can read it.
I know that he mentions that. Are you looking in the Great African Thinkers book, or like the UNESCO book?
Yeah. Right now I'm looking in the Great African Thinkers book right now, and I know it's in here. It's crazy, when I need it, I don't have it right away, but then it's in front of me all the time. So yeah, you go ahead. I'm gonna find it. I just want to share it so that people can become aware of what the actual claim is. Man, I don't know why I'm not finding it. But Asarim Khan actually had it on the screen, but like I said, he had to leave, which is why I wanted him to continue keep scrolling back down so that everybody can read that part and see that. So, boy, but I'll find it. I'm looking. I'm in the Great African Thinkers. I think this is coming up. I think we are going to be in luck in a second.
Yeah, because I think he mentions it there. No,
it's in here. It's in two. I think think it's in the UNESCO one as well.
Yeah, that's what I know. I know it's in the UNESCO. So if I think it's UNESCO Volume 2, and that first article,
And it shows the footnote and everything.
I believe so.
All right, let me just pull the UNESCO because, boy, I don't know. I just saw it. I actually had this open, and the conversation went to synonyms and all that stuff. I lost my place.
He went like, I don't know where he went. Oh, it was just terrible.
35. All right, 35. Let me see. 35. Maybe I'm going too fast. Here we go. I think I did go too fast, but they don't have the footnotes in here.
It's in there. I know. I've read it before, or unless you have the reduced version and not the full one.
Yeah, this right here is not showing the footnote, and that's what I want to. That's what I want to read the footnote. Yeah, I have to. But yeah, go ahead. I'm a.
Now, and I'm gonna get out of here soon. So I wanted to,
okay.
And it looks like the brother left already, and because I want to. Now I got to find it in my own text, the footnote of. I'm trying to figure out what a keyword is. Not too many white words. Where we dealt with the cattle. I know it must be in chapter 3. That's dealing with the research methods. Get that out of the way, because when I'm dealing with the, let's see, cattle, thing is 68 entries of cattle. No, I need to go up. I know that much. See, what people don't know is that the word Kim in terms of cattle doesn't have nothing to do with blackness. See, like people don't understand what a homonym and a homograph is, right? Because when you look at all of the other related languages, for example, you have this word in the Cushitic, Kim, cattle, cow, Kome, meat, Kuma, meat, Kum, meat, Kom, cow, Kum, bush cow, in Isizulu, Izi Nkomo, cattle, Inkomo, domestic bovine animal, Ngombe, cow, bovine, Chiluba, Ngombe, cow, ox, cattle, etc., etc. All these different kimmies for cow, cattle, in the Ngazim, in this Chadic language, Kwam, bull, none of them mean black cow, cattle, black, Like people are so quick to use black because there's a Kim black in it, not understanding that it's just a word for bull or cow. It has nothing to do with blackness. All right.
So I found the page. If I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay. Go ahead while I still look for this. Stop sharing. And go ahead.
Okay. So I'm sharing it now. You probably have to publish it. Okay. So I just wanna.
You about to zoom in? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe make this wider, I guess. Can everybody see that?
I can see that now.
Okay. So this is Diop's words. So just to be clear, I want to clarify without any noise. So it says the Egyptians as they saw themselves, and this is Shekan the Diop, right? And I'm gonna reread something that we read before. It says, "It is no waste of time to get the views of those principally concerned. And he asked a question, how did the Egyptians see themselves? Into which ethnic category did they put themselves? What did they call themselves? The language and literature left to us by the Egyptians of the Pharaonic epoch supply explicit answers to these questions, which the scholars cannot refrain from minimizing, twisting, or interpreting. And then here's the statement that was in question. Diop says the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves. And then he gives the glyphs for the word Kemet. And then he says equals Negroes literally. And then this is what I'm saying is a superscriptive 44, which is a footnote here. But the point that I made earlier that I want everybody to really catch is that this statement made by Diop is wrong. Now, people can fluff it and say, okay, it's not 100% correct, but it's not wrong, for whatever that means and stuff and everything. And I think that people have a hard time just saying it, because the brother Sarim Kha, instead of just saying that the statement is wrong, he said, well, if we say only, and we don't even have to bring that up because we can clearly read that it says only. And so that's wrong. That's wrong. All right. Now, but the footnote, I want to read the footnote down here. So here's the footnote here. So he says, this important discovery was made on the African side by Sosu Nsogan, who was to compile this part of the present chapter. And then he goes on to say, for the sense of the word, see the Water Book, Volume 5, 1971, page 22 and 122 and 127. So this is my point that Diop is not the one that discovered it. He gives credit to who actually discovered it, as clearly put in his footnote. All right, and that the sense of the word is found in the Water Book, as Asar was saying. So I just want to point that out, that this is what I was saying that Diop is incorrect on. The Egyptians are known as the Remech, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for anybody to say that this particular word is the only word that the Egyptians used to designate themselves, they will be just as wrong. And that's just it. All right, so that's all I wanted to share. That.
No doubt. All righty. Well, I'm going to end it with this. I'm going to share my screen again. Let's do a full screen. And so I wanted to kind of deal with a little bit of what I forgot what his name was, King J, when he came on, dealing with the cattle, right? And I want to again stress this issue. This is again because many folks don't deal with linguistics, so like some of these concepts they aren't thinking about from a linguistic standpoint, and this may be a source of confusion. So let's do this. So this is in my book here. And I heard someone come in. That's Chilimbwe, and we'll get back to you. So just hold tight. So this is in my book here. So this is on page, for those who have my book, this is on page 181. And I'm doing a series of internal correspondences here. This is in Chapter 3, towards an etymology of the place named Kemet. So I'm making the argument in section 5.1 on the hieroglyph possibly being pronounced as quote unquote Kim in pre-dynastic times, right? So, but before then, I show internal correspondences between the KM consonant sequence and the M.H consonant sequence, and showing that these are the same words, dialect words. So even when you say like Tamehu is the word Kemet, right? But that's another conversation. So one of the arguments, so like when you have here Kimi, so-called black bull, or Kemet, black cow, right? It corresponds to M.Hy, meaning holy bull. And notice that the bull is not described as black bull, or holy black bull. That's because there's no M.H that means black. Otherwise, Egyptologists would have just merged the two like they did with Kim Black, and thinking that, because there are black bulls, that this is in a reference to black bulls. So I have a footnote here, page 3, footnote 314. So we notice here, so it's a large footnote. And I noted, and I state here, notice that the corresponding word is mehi, holy bull, and is not defined as black bull. The word kimi should just read bull, as evidenced by the comparative data. The same for Kemet, black cow. And I showed in another footnote earlier that across Africa, so any word kim meaning bull or cow or cattle, none of them is defined as black bull or black cattle, right? So as noted in the Demotic dictionary, Kemet in the papyrus Louvre, reread Gemu, sacred cows, below, who translated as herd of black cows. Let me see, how am I reading this? He says, it's translated as herd of black cows, while noting the term could refer to non-black animals, right? In the Chicago Demotic Dictionary, 2001, page 26, the citation in the original document states that, and it's all in French, so that y'all can keep up, I'm going to, excuse the the kid in the background. Hey, where's your mom and them? I'm sorry? Hi. I don't know if y'all can hear. She saying hi to everybody in there. How you doing? Hi. No problem. So the young lady said hi to everyone. So you can read. Matter of fact, can y'all see the screen? So I just so what I did was I just copied. So what I'm doing here is I'm citing now this particular article that the Chicago Demotic Dictionary, or the University of Chicago Demotic Dictionary. So there's a note there, meaning that, you know, the term can refer to, in terms of the so-called Kemet or cattle, that it can refer to non-black animals, right? And then they gave a citation for a journal article. So I'm citing the journal article now that the University of Chicago text is citing, right? So when we go here, I just put it in here so y'all can read in the flesh. So there's going to be a rough translation. I left it in French in my article. So we're going to do this. I'm going to make it bigger. And so can you see it well? Is it better?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, rather than Na Kimu, the blacks designated the sacred bulls, we should undoubtedly read Ta Kemet, which would be, according to Chastanet, a feminine collective designating the herds of sacred bulls and cows fed in several temples, Ethribis, Memphis, Hermonthis, Heliopolis. The name is linked to the root Kim, black, but would have been diverted from its original meaning, since the bulls of Men, Theban, and Montu, their Hermonthis, were white, and probably the entire herd, right? Then gives a note here. It says, on the grave of the black, Pa Awi Hetep in Pa Kim, Max Gumo, which refers to whatever this source is. The determinative is that of the skin followed by the plural. See also the proper name Pa Kim. The expression Na Remetu T Kemet designates either the servants of the building or the enclosure where the herds were raised, or the inhabitants of a district where they were located. And see this particular text, the active renunciation, it's another text here. So he also is assuming that the word for cow and cattle derives from Kim black, but he has to recognize that it designates essentially all cattle. And the comparative linguistic terms verify that. And so what we're getting at here is that the word for Kim bull, Kimi bull, Kim bull, Kimiyet, Kemet for cows and cattle respectively, they should all just simply be that and not black cow, black cattle, because there's no evidence of such thing. All the linguistic evidence and the internal evidence shows that it applies to cattle that is not black, or animals that is not black, right? And actually in this instance refers to white cattle, but they're still using the word Kemet, right? And so but that would be consistent. So now I got to find the footnote again. Let me see if I can find one of those. No, I got to go back to cattle again. Let me see. Let me see. Quam. Here we go. So if we go to footnote page 392, and I'm doing the same thing with the word mer, because the word, and with the exception of this one is also defined as black cow, but there is no mer meaning black in the Egyptian language. It should just be cow, right? And so when you see all of these kims, so this is Cushitic right here. These are Cushitic languages: Agal, Belin, Kim, Kima, Awiya, Agan, Kimi, cattle, cow, Kuma, meat, Kome, meat. And it should be known as that, because people ate bulls and cows, that it became synonymous with meat and food, right? Socorro language, Kam, buffalo, Central Chadic, Kum, Kilba, and this is Eastern Chadic here, Kumu, meat, Kumo, calf, Bulewa, and what's that, West Central Chadic, Quim, cow, Karakara, Quam, cow, Ngamu, Kom, cow, Pochi, Kum, bush cow, Kumi, bush cow, and Ngazim, Quam, bull, Bade, Quam, bull. Y'all see the point I'm making? In Isi Inkomo, cattle, Inkomo, domestic bovine animal, and Isi Zulu, right? All these words are just words for cow, cattle, bull. There is no black to it. So it's not that as that one author tried to argue that it was black first, then it changed, it lost its meaning and was applied to everything else. It always been that way, and we can tell because it's consistent with all of the other related languages that we saw. So this notion that the Kim designated coming from the black cattle and all this is a bunch of BS. It's not consistent with what the evidence says, not only internally in with the Egyptian, but externally with the related languages that have the exact same term. So I just wanted to kind of end on that note. And I see Chilimboy has made his way back. And oops, let me stop sharing that. And let me remove that from the, I got to stop sharing my screen. So boom. So there. Anybody have anything to say before we go?
Oh, okay. I thought Chilimwe was, did he have a mic?
He's on mute. He muted himself.
Oh, okay. No, I think that was good. I think that was good, because I like you said at the beginning, when I was the only one on the panel, you were preaching to the choir when it comes to me. So from my standpoint, this has been going on for years. I took over a year and a half hiatus and back, and we have to explain the same things, which in a regular context is could be fine and tolerated. But I feel that just even judging by the comments in the chat, I'm of the opinion that certain people don't have even the willingness to just try to understand and walk with the conversation. Instead, people immediately take a default adversarial combative stance, and as soon as you open your mouth, they're on the opposite end. You could say peace, family, and then somebody will say you're wrong, and all you're saying is peace to everybody. Like that's really how it's become, because I've seen a couple of comments I've been looking at and saying things that weren't said, and stuff. So when Asar came on, and people could watch this video, because I was scrubbing through it, and you clearly didn't say what he said you were saying, and he did it more than once. I just find it a bit strange, So anyway, but but the last thing I want to say is that since you have to go, we're going live on the Seshu channel right after this, but we're going live for the purpose of rekindling it Freestyle Friday. But today is Saturday, but we're having a Freestyle Saturday. Pull up a picture. We're going to freestyle transliteration or translation of it, and then use it as a case to make a couple of other points. So you all, come check us out after Asar is finished. But I appreciate you sharing.
I may join y'all because it's just the library closes here at 5, but I think they really kind of get people out like by 4:30. So I just want to start taking my stuff down and leave it out here.
I was wondering why you were kind of talking soft. I know somebody probably joked in the chat like,
I didn't want to be too loud. And the last time I was on my thing, so I didn't know if it was the internet connection or not. So I didn't want what was happening on your program to be happening now.
Right.
So that's why I came here to the library. So y'all met a friend. The young girl said hi to everybody. I don't know if everybody could hear it, caught it. But
yeah, we heard that. But hey, man, I just want to say I appreciate y'all, man, because these kinds of conversations is what we need. And you know what I'm saying, I've been kind of in and out of the discussion, but very interesting discourse nonetheless. So yeah, I understood that you're about to wrap things up. So yeah, I just want to let y'all know that the conversation is very much appreciated.
Indeed, I'm glad that you had the opportunity to come through and ask your question. And I apologize we didn't get to go deep into it, but we may have to do a whole cattle episode, in the near future to address those claims. And so again, like people don't know the history of this argument and how many iterations that people have been trying to go around the arguments that we have presented, right? And so the whole cattle thing comes up because Reggie got beat up on a live trying to make some other arguments, so he had to find a new argument. So he went with the whole cattle thing, and so this reiteration, these new arguments always come up. But we've been consistent for 12, 13 years in terms of this position.
Brother, whether it's Cambodia-verse or Netterneb, I don't know, some of these characters that I've actually gotten to hear through you, because I'm kind of, what I'm saying, I discovered some of these people through you, bro. But it's like, nonetheless, it's like the proof is in the pudding to me, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I mean, these.
Your audio went out. Ujamaa, can you hear me? Are we still here?
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I could. Your audio went out.
Your audio went out.
Yeah, I just said that these internet streets be on a different type of time out here.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so, man. I encourage everyone to, if you want to know the latest iteration and a full discussion with history, of course, dozens of footnotes, hundreds of footnotes to be exact, source materials and the like, and analyzing actual ancient Egyptian texts. Look at Race and Identity in Ancient Egypt, Volume 1, Towards a Meaning for the Place Name Kemet. And so we address all this stuff. So the problem is that these folks, one, don't want to read it because they don't want to be seen as supporting me. So they don't want to buy the book. And which means that they don't get to hear the full arguments and the rebuttals against their arguments. right? And again, I've been in this conversation for 20 plus years, so I've heard damn near all arguments, and I can't say that I've heard every, but you know, a lot of these arguments have been iterated by other people, and you know, over the years. And there's some scholars I address directly that have written text, and then others that I've just based off of personal conversations or uh and the like. So you know, I
But
make
I
sure that
just
I address all issues.
exactly, and I just noticed that most of these dudes are now willing to go where you're willing to go in terms of demonstration beating conversation every single time. You feel me? It's like,
Yeah,
and that's my thing is, like you provide, you know what I'm saying, the actual data. And that's actually something.
looks like you went out again.
Cut out. Yeah, you cut out again.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, you said that is actually something, and then it went out.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I'm currently a machine learning student, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of the information that you have provided over the years has been very instrumental in, you know what I'm saying, inspiring me to actually pursue this. So
Mm.
that's kind of like the testimonials that's actually out there to
Mm.
to prove that, like, you know what I'm saying, the proof is in the pudding. But you know, it is what it is. Those that get it, get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like to each their own, you know, each one teach one, I guess.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be getting out of here, but I just want to make an announcement. So, for those of you who are on the Patreon page, you know, there's two lectures, recent lectures that are on there. And so we have the lecture Egyptian Nefer, a Bantu word of nobility and kingship, and the role of good character in African nobility. Right. So we're analyzing the word Nefer and it it being associated with kingship in Central African Bantu languages, right? And part one of Shalom and its Egyptian origin. And so I got to do part two, which will demonstrate the relationship between the word Shalom and Salam and the famous Assalamu alaikum, you know, um, and how it relates to, for example, the word Hotep, how Hotep and Salam and Shalom are the same word, right? So that's going to be on part two. But those are both present in the Patreon page, and so if you have not joined the Patreon, I highly advise that you do. So you can go to http://patreon.com asarimhotep and find it there. And if you have not joined the channel and you are new to this channel, I highly recommend that you hit the like button and that's right, subscribe. And you know, make sure you share the video, tell your friends. I'm pretty sure about 20 videos will come from this video, so the conversation is definitely going to be keep going. But make sure that you get the book so that you can get the full context of the conversation and see how this applies to many other aspects of Egyptology and the study of Africa and Africology and the like. So I'll let y'all two have the last closing words. So Chalimbwe and then Brother Ujawu.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. So yeah, just want to thank y'all, man, for taking y'all time to provide game to the community like y'all do consistently. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is what we need.
Appreciate it. Brother Ujawu.
Yeah, I appreciate you going live and doing this, and especially opening up with that clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson and Star Talk. I think that's definitely needed to be replayed, and I'm gonna probably clip that and play it as well later down the line, because that's important. And then yeah, I just appreciate the whole show, and just looking at the interaction though. I just really hope that people will start to see the importance of gaining some foundational information under the belt to start either following the conversation and even chiming in, and the importance of doing that, and not to take for granted how people have jumped into the conversation without doing that. And although the frequency of them presenting and doing videos may seem overwhelming, and I don't want people to take that as if their arguments are sound, solid, and true. That's not how this works either. Just because something is done frequently doesn't mean that is correct. So just, let's all do this together and walk together. That's it. And we're going live right after Asar to do Freestyle Friday. So if anybody want to participate, even though it's Saturday, you want to try to take your stab at some glyphs and everything, come check us out.
Indeed. Well, that is it. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for joining the conversation. We're heading over to Wujawu's channel. And as I pack up here, I'll join a little later. But y'all have a safe weekend. Eat healthy. Hug your loved ones. And we'll be back at another time. Peace.
Tokyo wanna those that what's up? Feeling like I dropped the draw for and caught Uno. Came to kick the door with the game in judo. Pin game low, that's why they give me kudos. Inspired by the 3-0, 595 check it for pack life. Hit the turnpike, slide to a baseline. Gotta sound like I just hit the 85. Oh, I'm so ready, by enemies necessary. We gon' be legendary. Hold up, about to grow the payrolls. If you see the vision and you're with it, you should say so. Cause we about building, elevating the millions.
This program was created with the love and support of all our Patreon members and subscribers. If you are not a member yet and would like to see more content like this, consider becoming a member today. The link is in the description of this video. Your support is greatly appreciated.